Chapter 2855. The Missing 3 Beast Tribes. 2. Besides, Ice Spirit had always been a person who prioritized the big picture. He could tell that the little girl needed to tame many beasts for her cultivation. How could he not cooperate? Knowing that Ice Spirit didn't mind, Uncle Long and the rest had no more worries. They even incited Lung Ruoxue impatiently. Shui, let's quickly go and take down the Dragon Race, Phoenix Race, and White Tiger Race. Why the hurry? She still wanted to go home and have a good chat with Uncle Dragon and the others to understand more about Demon City. However, seeing how Uncle Long and the others looked as if they wanted the world to be in chaos, Lung Ruoxue was too embarrassed to reject them. Just as she was about to nod in agreement, a buzzing sound entered everyone's ears. Everyone immediately stopped and turned around, just in time to see a piece of golden-colored cloud flying in their direction at an extremely fast speed. What was going on? Everyone was confused. After a short while, the large golden bee brought a group of smaller golden bees and flew in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Then, the large bee looked at Lung Ruoxue with a bashful expression and did not say a word. As a matter of fact, the golden bee was feeling very uneasy. The reason why it chased after them was agreed upon by the bugs. However, many bugs did not like humans and humans hated bugs as well. However, they wanted to serve the beast god. After a serious discussion, the bugs decided to send the Golden Bee clan, which was more likable and would not be hated by humans, to serve the beast god. In this way, they would have the opportunity to help the beast god if he needed anything. There was no need to trouble the beast god to summon them with mental power. However, when it was in front of Lung Ruoxue, the leader of the Golden Bees suddenly felt a sense of homesickness. It didn't know if the humans would welcome them or if the beast deity would need them. After all, they were of low status. Lung Ruoxue looked at the very human-like expression of the bee in front of her. The veins on her forehead were throbbing. What was the rhythm of this sudden shyness of the bee? If you have something to say it. Is there something? After waiting for a long time, Lung Ruoxue could only take the initiative to ask when she saw that the big bee was already playing with its claws uneasily, but it was not saying anything. Where are you guys going? After hesitating for a long time, the golden bee asked softly, her cheeks blushing. Lung Ruoxue was about to say that she wanted to go to the Dragon Clan, but after some thought, she said, if you have something to say, then say it. Towards friendly beastie, Lung Ruoxue had always been very friendly. This was also the main reason why her beast taming skill had always been at the lowest level. We want to stay by the beast deity's side. Hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the golden bee took in a deep breath and gathered its courage. Lung Ruoxue was stunned. Shouldn't she be asking Baby Sue about this? Although she had already found out about her baby's identity from her godfather, she was still a little unaccustomed to it. She didn't know why the big bee had come to find her. Lung Ruoxue could not figure it out, but the leader of the golden bees was clear. If they asked the beast god, they might be rejected. But if they asked this human lady, if she agreed, the beast god would not reject them. They knew that this lady was the sister that the beast god had mentioned. To be called Big Sister by the beast deity, one could only imagine her status. Therefore, the intelligent bees decided to cling onto Lung Ruoxue, the strong and powerful one. That way, the beast deity would not chase them away. It could be seen that they had a very good plan. Thanks, however, Lung Ruoxue was in a difficult position. She, who had always respected beasts, really did not want to make any decisions for her baby. However, at this time, Uncle Long and the others kept winking at her, wanting her to accept these bees. These little guys were all very difficult secret weapons. More importantly, the honey they produced was quite delicious. Helpless, Lung Ruoxue could only nod in agreement. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue had agreed, the big golden bee immediately started buzzing. The other bees quickly followed suit in high spirits, causing Lung Ruoxue to be speechless. Take us in too. Suddenly, a slightly aged voice appeared in the ears of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Lung Ruoxue and the rest lowered their heads to take a look. They did not know when, but those colorful venomous snakes had also appeared. As for their ability to remain undetectable, everyone admired them, but more than that, they were speechless. These venomous snakes always appeared in a way that caught people off guard. To the enemy, they were definitely the most fatal opponents. Of course, he had to take in such beastie. He had to accept it. Hence, this time, without Lung Ruox's approval, Uncle Long made the decision. Welcome to the team. Thank you. We still have some brothers and sisters, can you accept them as well? At this time, the old venomous snake, who was the leader, asked with an embarrassed look. Is it also a snake? Uncle Dragon swallowed his saliva and asked carefully. With so many venomous snakes, will the little ones in Demon City be scared? He was suddenly a little worried. No. Old venomous snake quickly denied. If that's the case, then we welcome them to join us. However, we have a deep hatred for the Ripple Witch, so you'd better be prepared. Uncle Long couldn't help but remind him. Don't worry, we have a grudge against her too. Old venomous snake expressed his opinion when he heard Uncle Long's words. If that's the case, all the more we should join forces. Uncle Long said, satisfied. Yes. Old venomous snake also nodded in satisfaction, and then said, let these little ones follow you. They'll go back and inform the other beasts. All right, but we won't be going home for now. After you've gathered the other beasts, you can bring them to Demon City. Uncle Long said. Hearing Uncle Long say that he wasn't going home, Old Snake couldn't help but ask curiously, You're not going home? Where do you plan to go? Go and take care of the dragon, phoenix, and white tiger race. Uncle Long said honestly. When Old Venomous Snake heard this, he immediately said, Then I'll go with you to join in the fun. I've long found the 4 king-level divine beasts to be an eyesore. She's just a little pretty. All of them act like it's a big deal. Old Venomous Snake's words were full of contempt, but it made Uncle Long and the others break out in cold sweat. There were 4 king-level divine beasts among them, and it was the leader of the group. However, to everyone's disbelief, Ice Spirit was rather calm, as if the old viper was talking about someone else. Seeing this, Uncle Long and the others immediately had a deep respect for Ice Spirit. Look at him, this was a true powerful magical beast. He definitely wouldn't assume that it was him just because of a few words from someone else. As a human, as a beast, you should be as cold as ice. In fact, Ice Soul was well aware that he was not one of the 4 king divine beasts that the old snake disliked because he had a good relationship with the old snake. However, the relationship between the old snake and the other 3 kings of the 3 clans that were currently sealed was quite stiff. As long as there was a chance, they would definitely hit each other when they were down and would not wait to step the other into the dust. As a result, the old venomous snake naturally loathed the clansmen of those 3 fellows. Chapter 2856. The Missing 3 Beasts Tribe, 3. At this time, Old Snake also saw through everyone's thoughts. He hooked Ice Spirit's arm with his tail and said, Don't misunderstand, everyone. I'm very close to Ice Soul. We're good friends. Of the 4 divine beasts, the only one I have a good impression of is the Qilin clan. As it turns out, my eyes are very accurate. The clansmen of the other 3 clans aren't good people either. Otherwise, they wouldn't have betrayed us. In the past, if it wasn't for the betrayal of the 3 races that caught them off guard, their great beast god wouldn't have fallen, and they wouldn't have been forced to hide. But now, the beast god had been reborn, and they could see the light of day again. So at this moment, Old Venomous Snake was quite excited. When Lung Ruoxua heard that the old venomous snake in front of her claimed that he was good friends with Ice Spirit, she could not help but sigh. This old venomous snake really knew how to keep up with the times. He seemed to be able to accept new things. Just like that, Old Venomous Snake brought his sons and grandsons to join Lung Ruox's group. Together, they followed Lung Ruoxua and the others in a grandiose manner as they advanced towards the territories of the Dragon, Phoenix, and White Tiger clans. The first place they went to was the Phoenix clan. This was because this place was the closest to the Phoenix clan's territory. However, when they arrived at the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxua and the others realized that there were only 2 to 3 members of the Phoenix clan in the clan. It was a pitiful number. As such, everyone suddenly lost interest. After that, he turned around and headed to the White Tiger race. At first, Lung Ruoxue was still hesitating whether she should come here right now. After all, the relationship between the White Tiger race's Grand Elder and them had been pretty good ever since the White Tiger King incident. However, when she arrived at the White Tiger race, there were only a few White Tigers left to guard the White Tiger race. The rest, including the White Tiger race's Grand Elder, were actually not present. It was really too strange. Lung Ruoxue and the rest were confused. They expressed their doubts about the two beastmen running away from home on such a large scale. Although these three races had previously besieged Demon City, they hadn't even attacked the ordinary clansmen yet. This was especially true for the White Tiger race. It could be said that due to the efforts of the White Tiger's Great Elder, their relationship with Demon City had always been considered good, and nothing major had happened since. If the Phoenix race could be explained to be hiding from them, then there was no need for the White Tiger race to hide from them either. Leaving the White Tiger race resentfully, Lung Ruoxue and the rest were extremely disappointed. After that, they rushed to the Dragon Clan. When he arrived at the Dragon Clan, the entire Dragon Clan was empty. Looking at the overgrown weeds in the Dragon Clan's territory, everyone was speechless. Previously, when he was at the Phoenix and White Tiger race, he heard from the Phoenixes and White Tigers that were guarding the place that their clansmen had all gone out to train. What about the dragon race? Not a single dragon was left behind. Wasn't he afraid that his territory would be taken over by other beasties? Of course, there definitely wouldn't be many beasts that would dare to openly occupy the territories of the four great king divine beasts, but this didn't mean that there weren't any. And even if a dragon was left behind, it would be enough to serve the purpose of deterring the other beasts. It was clear that this disappearance was really unusual. Lung Ruoxue would never believe that in order to go out and gain experience, he would hide from her, afraid of her revenge, and even give up his territory. She turned to Ice Spirit and asked, "Senior Ice Spirit, is it possible that they're afraid of my revenge, so they've all gone into hiding and abandoned their territory? How is this possible? This territory was fought hard for by us in the past. Even if our clansmen lose their lives, we can't just hand over the territory to someone else." Ice Spirit said with certainty. A piece of territory was extremely important to Beastie. This was because the territory was not only related to the development of a race, but also played a key role in the growth of the younger members of the race. At the same time, it was also a symbol of the powerful beast race. And the beast race without a territory was naturally not powerful. More importantly, the territories of the four king divine beast clans were all very suitable for their own clansmen to live in. As such, it was even more impossible for them to give it to other beasts. But the weeds in the Dragon Clan's territory are already so tall. Clearly, they've left for a long time. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the weeds on the ground. Thanks to something must have happened to them. At this moment, Old Venomous Snake, who had just returned from his trip, interrupted Lung Ruoxue's words. An accident? Lung Ruoxue and the others were astonished. Hearing this, Uncle Long tried to recall in detail. He had never heard of any human or beast going missing in the divine realm. How did this happen? Are you sure? Ice Spirit asked seriously. You still don't believe in my sense of smell. I've discovered an aura here that doesn't belong to those stinky dragons. It should be that of humans. Old Venomous Snake said with confidence. We've been here before. Hearing Old Venomous Snake's words, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but remind him. It's not yours. I know your aura. Old Venomous Snake said with certainty. Swear, believe in its words. Its sense of smell is invincible. Ice Spirit sighed. All right then. Since Ice Spirit had already said so, Lung Ruoxue could only believe her. However, her curious eyes could not help but turn to look at Old Venomous Snake. Invincible sense of smell? Was he more powerful than a dog? Boss sister, please believe in my judgment. Back then, I was in charge of reconnaissance. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue was still a little suspicious, Old Venomous Snake couldn't help but be filled with confidence. His face even revealed an expression of reminiscence. I believe you are. Also, you can call me Shui. Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly. I'm very happy that Boss Sister believes me, But I can't call you Shuer. Old venomous snake said with a serious expression. In its eyes, it was just a subordinate, and its boss sister was obviously older than its boss. How could it call her by her name? More importantly, he felt that subordinates should act like subordinates. Calling his superior's sister by her name was completely disrespectful to his boss. And the old viper, who had always valued hierarchy, would never allow himself to make such a mistake. Lung Ruoxue felt a little helpless when she heard its words. She didn't expect this old snake to be so stubborn. In addition, she was also a little worried. If he didn't call her Shuer, then what should he call her? One had to know that the people around her who were slightly closer to her would directly call her by her name. Since this old snake was baby's subordinate, they would definitely be familiar with each other in the future. He couldn't possibly call her Miss Lung, right? Lung Ruoxue was in a difficult position. Old venomous snake didn't know what to call her, but it was definitely not appropriate to keep calling her big sister. Why don't we call her Miss Lung for the time being? Uncle Long could only interrupt when he saw the man and the snake staring at each other without saying anything. Yes. When old venomous snake heard this, he immediately nodded in agreement. Lung Ruoxue could only nod in agreement when she saw that the other party had agreed. With the form of address confirmed, old venomous snake continued with his own judgment. The reason why I am so sure that something has happened to them is because I discovered this. With that, old venomous snake produced a black belt out of nowhere. Looking at the black belt, Lung Ruoxue felt a sense of déjà vu. However, she could not recall where she had seen it before. Chapter 2857, The Missing 3 Beast Tribe 4. Shuer, do you find this belt familiar? Seeing Lung Ruoxue's pensive look, Uncle Long could not help but ask. Yeah, but I just can't remember where I've seen it before. Lung Ruoxue said, feeling a little depressed. Miss Lung, take a closer look and see if you can find anything. When old venomous snake heard this, he quickly passed the belt to Lung Ruoxue. Taking the belt, Lung Ruoxue observed it carefully. This belt was too ordinary. There was nothing special about it, and there was no trace of the identity of the person on it. After a while, Lung Ruoxue shook her head helplessly. Seeing that she still couldn't remember, everyone could only follow her and think hard. Who do you guys think is the most likely to act against the dragon race, phoenix race, and white tiger race? After thinking for a long time, Uncle Long asked. Right now, these 3 tribes have no leaders and their beast hearts are scattered, so there are many people who want to take advantage of them. However, not many had the ability to deal with them. The most suspicious ones were the 8 great divine regions. In addition, this might not be done by one family, but by a few. Dong Fong Lin analyzed after some thought. As soon as Dong Fong Lin's words fell, everyone and all the beasts present couldn't help but turn their eyes to Master Ning. Their suspicious and probing gazes made Master Ning explode. Why are you all looking at me? I didn't lay my hands on the dragon race, phoenix race, or white tiger race. Master Ning shouted angrily. Calm down. We didn't say that you did it. You were with us the whole time, so we know very well whether you did it or not. Smiling, Uncle Long quickly comforted him. Since you know that I've been with you all this time, why are you still looking at me like this? After hearing this, Master Ning was depressed to the extreme. How could they bully people like this? We just want to know if there's anyone from the Ning family doing this behind your back. Uncle Long asked carefully. I want tea. Without my permission, they would never dare to do such a thing. I can guarantee it. Master Ning immediately made a solemn vow. Could that be the Yao clan? Uncle Long was still suspicious. The old man of the Yao family has rarely appeared in public in the past 10 years, so it's hard to say. Master Ning thought carefully and said, it's also possible that a few of them are working together. Dong Fong Lin repeated, if that's the case, isn't the murderer a little hard to guess? Uncle Long said helplessly, don't guess anymore, just send someone to investigate. Lung Ruoxue suggested. Thanks, Shuer, we don't have anyone to send at the moment. Uncle Long told Lung Ruoxue the truth uneasily. Lung Ruoxue was silent. Where was he? Didn't she say that she wanted to go home and have a deep chat? It was obvious that there was something she didn't know. Shuer were the only people you can send at the moment. Dong Fonglin added when he saw that Leng Ruoxue seemed to be at a loss. I see. Then why don't I do it myself and you all go home to wait for me? Leng Ruoxue said after some thought. These people's seniority was higher than hers, so she'd better stay at home. I don't want to go back. After hearing Leng Ruoxue's words, everyone spoke in unison. What kind of rhythm is this? Leng Ruoxue was even more helpless. Shuer, now that something has happened to our target beastie, how can we just go back like this? I feel that we should immediately head to the Phoenix and White Tiger tribes and have a good heart-to-heart talk with their only remaining offsprings to see if there are any suspicious people around. You dare to snatch food from our Shue'er's mouth? You really don't want to live. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue had been frightened, Uncle Long put on a gentle smile and explained. His words made everyone nod their heads. Leng Ruoxue, on the other hand, was helpless. It seemed that Uncle Long and the others had taken those beasts as their own. However, Uncle Long's words weren't without reason. They should indeed go and have a heart-to-heart talk with the remaining phoenixes and white tigers. At the same time, they also had to protect the few remaining magical beasts so that they could find out the true culprit who had abducted the dragon, phoenix, and white tiger race. There's also us. We can all help. Previously, we didn't search the phoenix and white tiger race carefully. Now, we have to return and look for more suspicious clues. The old venomous snake also said. He truly felt that the opportunity for his clan to make a contribution had come. If he could find out the whereabouts of those beastmen who had eyes on their heads from their hands, his clan would be able to hold their heads high in front of those 3 beastmen in the future. As long as he thought that his clan might become the saviors of those 3 clans, old venomous snake's mood instantly brightened. It was even better than beating up those 3 clans. Since that's the case, let's return to the phoenix and white tiger race then. Leng Ruoxue saw that everyone had agreed, so she naturally had no reason to reject. However, if they were to return, it would definitely be a disaster for the phoenix and white tiger that stayed behind. They arrived at the phoenix clan first. Seeing Leng Ruoxue and the rest return, the few phoenixes that were left behind felt so depressed that they wanted to bang their heads against the wall. So, why did these fiends return? Did they still want to live? Initially, they were already on tenterhooks about the arrival of Leng Ruoxue and the rest. They had finally managed to send those fiends away safely, and after a few days of peace, those fiends had actually returned. And this time, Leng Ruoxue didn't waste any words. She immediately captured a few phoenixes and brought everyone to the white tiger race. Actually, the white tigers of the white tiger race weren't as afraid of their arrival as the phoenixes. However, they wouldn't welcome them either. After all, no one could forget that their king was still in Leng Ruoxue's hands. The relationship between their white tiger race and Leng Ruoxue was also so fragile that it couldn't withstand a single blow. They had to be on guard against Leng Ruoxue falling out with them. Hence, Leng Ruoxue could definitely be considered the most unwelcomed guest of the white tiger race. However, they had no choice but to welcome her with a smile. Such a fact also meant that the white tigers would never have any confidence when facing Leng Ruoxue and the others. Chapter 2858, The Ning Family? 1. Seeing Leng Ruoxue and the rest turn around, the few white tigers left to guard the place could only smile stiffly and say in a depressed tone, It's coming. They're here. Leng Ruoxue replied with a smile. However, the more she thought about it, the more she felt that this conversation was very strange. It sounded a little familiar, didn't it? After Leng Ruoxue's reply, the few white tigers were speechless for a long time. They didn't know how to continue. In fact, the white tigers really wanted to ask, "Why did you come back?" But no one dared to say this. Especially after seeing that the other party had captured a few phoenixes, no one dared to ask. Just like that, the white tiger, Leng Ruoxue, and the others stared at each other. After a long while, one of the white tigers suddenly remembered that Leng Ruoxue and the rest were still standing there. He quickly said, Then please take a seat." Leng Ruoxue and the others were silent. Uncle Long took a deep breath and asked, You want us to sit on the ground? Arg. It wasn't he. It wasn't he. Please come to the living room. The white tiger's heart was in his throat when he heard this. He was afraid that the other party would pick a fight with him because of his inappropriate language. When they respectfully invited Lung Ruoxue and the others into the living room and saw that the other party did not take the opportunity to cause a scene, the white tigers finally felt at ease. After that, they went to prepare food for Lung Ruoxue and the rest in a panic. Seeing how they were so busy but were clueless and dazed, Lung Ruoxue quickly stopped them and said, "Don't be busy, sit down, I have something to ask you." Lung Ruoxue's voice was a little loud. When the white tigers heard her, they were so frightened that their hearts trembled. Then they sat down stiffly beside them. Seeing that the white tigers were sitting far away, Lung Ruoxue raised her eyebrows and asked indifferently, "What? Do you think I'm going to eat you? All of you sit here." When they saw Lung Ruoxue pointing to the empty seats beside them for them to sit, the white tigers stood up unwillingly with a sad face. Then they walked with heavy steps, slowly towards Lung Ruoxue. "You bastard! You guys should move quickly, we don't have that much time to waste on you." The cowardice of these white tigers instantly infuriated Uncle Long. This roar of his was really effective. The few white tigers immediately quivered and ran to Lung Ruoxue's side. They sat down in the seats that were specially reserved for them. "Tell me about your clansmen who ran away from home. What time did they leave? Did they say goodbye to their clansmen before leaving? In addition, have any strangers come here?" Seeing that the white tiger had sat down, Lung Ruoxue asked a few questions in a row. The white tigers could not help but look at each other. There were so many questions, which one should they answer first? Seeing through their thoughts, Uncle Long roared, "Answer me one by one. Answer seriously, or you'll have to bear the consequences." Upon hearing this, the white tigers immediately sat up straight like obedient babies. Then, the white tiger, who was the most powerful among them, spoke first. "I don't know when they left, because they usually leave at night, so no clansmen saw them. As for the greeting, I don't think they did." After this white tiger finished speaking, the other white tiger continued, "No strangers have come to the clan in the past few years." After answering seriously, the few white tigers looked at Lung Ruoxue and the others uneasily like primary school students. They wondered if the other party would be satisfied with their answer. So, it felt so difficult to answer. "Are you sure no strangers have been here?" Lung Ruoxue's suspicions deepened when she heard the white tigers say that their clansmen had chosen to leave at night, but no one had seen them. Was there a need to be so mysterious when facing his own family? "No, I didn't. Our white tiger race doesn't welcome strangers." A white tiger replied. In reality, he wanted to say that he did not welcome humans. However, when he thought of the identities of Lung Ruoxue and the others, he forcefully changed the word human to stranger. "Thanks. So, you didn't know when the clansmen left? Since you're not sure, how can you be sure that they've gone out to gain experience?" Lung Ruoxue asked again to confirm. "They left a letter to the clan before they left, so we knew about it." A certain white tiger said carefully. Lung Ruoxue and the rest could not help but laugh when they heard that the white tiger had left a letter before it left. Uncle Long couldn't help but laugh out loud before saying, "I only found out today that your white tiger race likes to write letters. What a joke." The beasts hated things related to words the most because most of them could not read. They were once laughed at by humans for their lack of literacy, so from then on, the beasts hated words. Of course, this was not absolute. There were still some beasts who could read, but most of them hated words. When Lung Ruoxue and the rest heard that every beastie that had left home had left a letter to inform them of their whereabouts, their first reaction was that it was impossible. When the white tigers heard this, they blushed and said, "These few years, under the great elders' education, every white tiger has started to learn to read, so it's not a problem for them to trust us with simple words. If that's the case, then he'll have to trouble you to show us the letters left behind by the white tigers," Lung Ruoxue suggested after hearing this. "All right, please wait a moment." A white tiger stood up and walked out. Not long after, he returned with a thick stack of paper in his hand. After passing the paper to Lung Ruoxue, the white tiger returned to its original position. After Lung Ruoxue flipped through it briefly, she passed the thick stack of papers to Uncle Long and the others. After everyone had finished looking around, Lung Ruoxue asked, "What are your thoughts?" The White Tiger race's handwriting is not bad. The words are neat and imposing. It just doesn't look like it was written by someone who only learned how to write for a few years. Master Ning was the first to express his opinion after a glance. Why do I feel that these words are somewhat similar? It's as if they were all written by the same person. Uncle Long scratched his head in confusion. Hearing him say this, Master Ning and the others lowered their heads and looked carefully again. With one look, they really saw many problems. These words were indeed written by a single person. Although the other party had deliberately changed the style, it is impossible to change the habits of many years. Dongfang Lin said with certainty after a careful observation. Did you hear that? This word was written by a person, not your family's handwriting. Lung Ruoxue turned to the few white tigers beside her and said after hearing Dongfang Lin's words. This is impossible," he exclaimed. The white tigers were dumbfounded when they heard this. Something might have happened to your family. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue could only make her words more clear. But in this case, the white tigers found it even more impossible to believe her. Not only did they not believe her, they even looked at Lung Ruoxue with suspicion. However, no one had the guts to question Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue understood when she saw their expressions. After that, she pointed to the few phoenixes sitting on the ground and said, "You can ask them. The situation of their phoenix race is the same as your white tiger race." Chapter 2859, The Ning Family? 2. Does your phoenix kind also have a clansman who is going out to train? One of the white tigers asked. Yes, he also left a letter before he left. One of the phoenixes said honestly. After listening for such a long time, he finally realized that something was amiss. After all this fuss, Lung Ruoxue had returned because she suspected that her clansman's training was abnormal? If that was the case, why didn't he say it clearly at the beginning? Why did he have to capture all of them and take them away? So, the phoenixes were so sad. It looks like our two races are thinking the same thing. The white tiger said dumbly, "Want to be together, your sister?" The phoenix who replied was not as stupid as the white tiger. Immediately, he turned to look at Lung Ruoxue and said, "Something must have happened to the phoenix kind, at least you're not too stupid." Lung Ruoxue looked at the phoenix with admiration. She then turned to look at the silly white tiger with a headache and said, "Did you hear that? She's more clear-headed than you idiot." Lung Ruoxue's tone was filled with resentment. If there was such a stupid subordinate among her subordinates, she would definitely be angered to death. Fortunately, this white tiger wasn't hers yet. But in the future, thinking about the future, Lung Ruoxue's gaze towards a certain white tiger became sharp again. As for the white tiger that was being glared at, it looked at Lung Ruoxue with an aggrieved expression, as if it was a little wife that had been bullied. Lung Ruoxue could only sigh. After taking a few deep breaths, she suppressed her anger and said, "Now that your clansmen are all in trouble, leaving only a few of you behind, what do you think? Tell me." "We don't know." Woo, the few white tigers were on the verge of a mental breakdown after hearing this bad news. They were at a loss for what to do and looked at Lung Ruoxue with teary eyes. Their clear blue eyes were red as though they were saying, "Please protect me." "Miss Lung, you can make the decision," the Phoenix clan replied. "Well, listen to you. AI." He definitely had to listen. A beast under the eaves had no choice but to lower its head. "I can't be bothered with your business." The moment the Phoenix finished speaking, Lung Ruoxue's face was filled with disdain. Not care? No matter why they were captured? He thought that since the other party had captured them, he would naturally help them. But no. So, how could these people not care? How could he leave her in the lurch? It had to be said that at this moment, whether it was the Phoenix or the white tiger, both of them felt fear towards the disappearance of their clansmen. In fact, at this moment, they could not help but place their hopes on their original enemy, Lung Ruoxue. However, now that she had said that she would not care, their burning anticipation was instantly crushed into an ice cave. Don't ignore it, dear. If you don't do anything, they might be captured by the bad guys. Woo, whoever dared to capture Phoenix and White Tiger must have extraordinary strength. Thinking of this, they couldn't help turning their eyes to Master Ning. They guessed that the person who dared to capture the Phoenix and the White Tiger was probably from the 8 great divine regions. It had to be said that the two sides were thinking the same thing. The reason why they did not suspect Lung Ruoxue was because they felt that with Lung Ruoxue's abilities, she would not have to go through so much trouble to capture a White Tiger or Phoenix. Thanks, he secretly caught someone and left a message. How much effort did he have to put into this? Lung Ruoxue would definitely not bother to do such a sneaky thing. More importantly, even if the other party had done it, they would not have forged a message. It was really unnecessary. Without any suspicion, the White Tiger and Phoenix who were present ruled out Lung Ruoxue as a suspect. This was something that Lung Ruoxue had never thought of. She even felt that it would be normal for the other party to suspect her. After all, they did not get along well. Master Ning, who had been targeted by them, was a little angry. "Why are you all looking at me? I didn't do that." Master Ning roared in anger. "We didn't say that you did it. We just feel that, in the entire firmament, only the people from the 8 great divine domains, aside from Demon City, are capable of snatching away the Phoenix and the White Tiger without anyone knowing." A certain Phoenix explained in fear. Master Ning was speechless. It seemed like that was the case. Uncle Long and the others couldn't help but laugh. It seemed that they had the same idea. After clearing her throat, Lung Ruoxue spoke again. "I can guarantee that this matter has nothing to do with Godfather. As for who you suspect, just go and find the person involved. I hope that I'll have the opportunity to see all of you alive in the divine realm in the future." With that, Lung Ruoxue stood up and prepared to leave. As soon as she stood up, Uncle Long and the others naturally followed suit. The Phoenixes and White Tigers were dumbfounded. He really didn't care? They definitely could not allow Lung Ruoxue and the others to leave just like that. If they left, there would be even fewer people who could help them. Actions speak louder than words. In the next second, a few White Tigers and Phoenixes pounced towards Lung Ruoxue in unison. They knelt on the ground and hugged Lung Ruoxue and the rest's legs tightly as they cried, "You can't just leave like this. If you guys leave, what are we going to do? What do you have to do with us? Don't forget, we are also enemies." Lung Ruoxue's face darkened before she spoke in a tone that left no room for discussion. "Yup. We don't have the obligation to help you, and you're not even related to us." Uncle Long agreed. He couldn't help but laugh in his heart. Shui Er's tactic of playing hard to get was good. In this case, wouldn't these Phoenixes and White Tigers be easy to capture? Then well become your beasts. Is that okay? One of the Phoenixes asked carefully. Don't say that he didn't have a backbone. When things came to a head, he might even lose his life. Could a backbone be eaten? Staying alive was the most important thing. Hearing that a certain Phoenix had the intention to defect, Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly and said, "I'm sorry, but the thing I don't need the most right now is a beast. However, I do lack some servants. Are you willing to do that?" "I'm willing. I'm willing." The Phoenix who spoke did not dare to make a decision on behalf of the others. However, to him, it did not matter whether he was a beastie or a servant, as long as he could keep his little life. He did not wish to be like his clan members and disappear without a trace. More importantly, everyone in the immortal realm knew that Lung Ruoxue treated beasts well. Hence, being her servant was better than letting others take advantage of her, right? It had to be said that this Phoenix had thought it through quite thoroughly and was very tactful. It was also very sincere and did not reveal the slightest bit of reluctance. Seeing his expression, Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly. "Since you've decided, I'll give you a chance. Thank you, Master, for taking me in." A certain Phoenix said in a fawning manner when she saw that her wish had been fulfilled. "Master, I'm willing too. Master, please take me in." When the other Phoenixes and White Tigers saw this, they didn't care about their face anymore and fought to be the first to speak. Chapter 2860, The Ning Family? 3. Seeing this grand scene, Master Ning and the others couldn't help but twitch their lips. This was too. That? Don't you have any shame? However, Leng Ruoxue was satisfied that they had walked right into her trap. This was the result of playing hard to get. Hence, she did not reject them. After explaining to the other party that she wanted to use the beast taming technique, Leng Ruoxue then signed the equality contract with them. The white tigers and phoenixes were extremely touched. He had thought that his master would sign a master-servant contract with him, but he didn't expect it to be an equal contract. So, where else could he find such a kind master? At this moment, the beasties' hearts were completely subdued by Leng Ruoxue. Initially, Leng Ruoxue was hesitating whether she should sign a master-servant contract before the contract was formed. After all, to ordinary beast tamers, it was necessary to sign a master-servant contract for tamed beasts. Only then would the loyalty of the beasts be high. However, she did not have such concerns at all. More importantly, she had always been tolerant of her beasts. There were very few beasts in her family who had signed a master-servant contract, and the few beasts in front of her had never offended her. Therefore, she really could not bear to use the master-servant contract to control their freedom. After much consideration, Leng Ruoxue finally decided to sign an equality contract. However, she did not expect that a contract of equals would be able to completely subdue the hearts of these beasts. This could be considered an unexpected surprise. After becoming Leng Ruoxue, the white tigers and the phoenix felt much more at ease. Then, out of curiosity, one of the white tigers could not help but ask, "Master, have you been to the dragon clan? What's the situation there?" "I've been there. Their entire clan doesn't have any dragons." Leng Ruoxue said calmly. "Ah." These words instantly scared the phoenixes and white tigers so much that their faces turned pale. At the same time, they were secretly rejoicing in their hearts. It was a good thing that they had acknowledged Leng Ruoxue as their master. Otherwise, they might be the next ones to be captured. "Master, what should we do now?" a phoenix asked after a long time. "Investigate the suspicious people and find us a secret place. We will be staying there temporarily. As for you, you will be live targets for now. If the other party wants to make a move, you'll be the first choice." Leng Ruoxue made the arrangements. Although they knew that their master's arrangement was very reasonable, as long as they thought that they would be living targets for the enemy, the white tigers and phoenixes could not be happy. However, this was something that couldn't be helped. The other party was going to make a move against the phoenix and white tiger race. It was clearly unrealistic to make them the target. In order to ensure their safety, Leng Ruoxue had even specially instructed Old Venomous Snake to place a few of his sons and grandsons by their side for protection. This way, their safety would naturally be greatly increased. After that, Leng Ruoxue and the rest settled down in a mountain stream within the white tiger race. During this period of time, Leng Ruoxue had heard from Uncle Long and the others that there was new blood in Demon City. However, these new blood were either in closed-door cultivation or out for training. Hence, in the huge Demon City, they were the only idle people. But fortunately, with the Golden Bee clan, Old Venomous Snake, and his children and descendants around, they finally had some people to run errands for them. Other than the venomous snakes that followed the white tiger and phoenix, the rest of the snake's offsprings were sent out by the Old Venomous Snake. The Golden Bee clan also scattered to cooperate with the venomous snakes to investigate the situation and monitor suspicious people in the 8 great divine regions. Time passed. Soon 2 months had passed. There was no trace of the enemy, but Bao Bao, who had been sleeping for a long time, finally woke up. The moment Baby Su opened his eyes, he saw Leng Ruoxue and immediately threw himself into her arms. He said passionately, "Sister, I missed you so much." "Sister also misses the baby." Leng Ruoxue said dotingly. "Sister, baby doesn't want to be away from you for so long." The baby said in a spoiled manner. "Silly girl, baby has never left big sister. Baby's temporary departure is all for cultivation." Leng Ruoxue reminded. "Yes, I don't need to cultivate anymore. Sister, how's my new image? Is she pretty?" In order to let Leng Ruoxue see his current appearance, Baby jumped out of Lung Ruox's arms reluctantly and posed a few times for his beloved sister to see. Initially, it had wanted to show off, but who knew that it would accidentally trip over its long, furry tail. With a loud plop, it fell on its back. This made Lung Ruoxua laugh out loud. Seeing that she had pleased her sister, Baby Sue was happy in her heart. However, she couldn't help but put on an aggrieved expression. Her eyes were filled with tears as she looked pitifully at Lung Ruoxua, who was smiling so widely that she had lost her image. "Sister," the baby sobbed. When Lung Ruoxua saw this, she immediately pulled the baby into her arms to comfort him. However, she could not hide the smile on her face. "Big sister, you're smiling so happily." Bao Bao could only laugh at herself. Bao Bao has done a great job. Yes. Lung Ruoxua smiled and nodded. Thanks. Just as Lung Ruoxua was about to praise Baby Sue, a small golden bee flew over and stopped beside the two of them. When the golden bee saw that its baby was awake, it hurriedly saluted, "Greetings, greetings, Lord Beast Deity." "Yes, what's the matter?" The baby's previous tsundere attitude was replaced by a stern expression. "Your Excellency, Miss Lung, the king asked me to inform you that there are enemies." The little golden bee replied in a trembling voice. "What enemy information?" The baby, who had just woken up, had a confused expression on his fluffy and cute little face. "Have you found the person who captured the 3 beasts?" Lung Ruoxua. "Not yet. I caught a man in black. That person was sneakily loitering around the white tiger race's territory and we discovered him," the golden bee reported. "Ah." Lung Ruoxua was speechless. This couldn't be considered as an enemy's relationship, right? What if they were just passing by? However, she would rather catch the wrong person than let him go. So, after hearing the golden bee's report, she carried the baby to the living room because the person was being interrogated by Uncle Long and the others. On the way, Lung Ruoxua also explained to Baby Sue. After finding out that the dragon race, phoenix race, and white tiger race had all gone missing, Bao Bao was completely enraged. "You bastard! It had not dealt with those guys yet. How could they let others capture them? Wasn't this clearly snatching people from the hands of the beast god? Such an evil act must not be tolerated." The baby, who was being carried by Lung Ruoxua, followed her into the living room in a valiant and spirited manner. Seeing that the baby had woken up, everyone was very happy, because this meant that their strength had increased a lot. However, the few people sitting here still used up most of their mental strength on the baby, just to add a few words of criticism to the fog ripple, while the baby felt warm and accepted everyone's criticism with an open mind. After that, everyone turned their attention to the man in black who was kneeling on the ground. Seeing that the other party was dressed in black in broad daylight, Lung Ruoxua was speechless. This person didn't look like someone who was good at this, but that didn't mean that he wasn't suspicious at all. Moreover, no matter how she looked at him, she felt that the person in front of her looked familiar, but she could not remember where she had seen him before. More importantly, when the person in front of her saw her, his eyes were obviously avoiding her, as if he did not expect to see her here. "You recognize me?" Lung Ruoxua squinted her eyes as she sat down. "Young Lady Lung is very famous in the divine realm. I'm afraid there aren't many people who don't recognize her, right?" The man in black replied carefully after he calmed down. "You think I'm asking you that?" Lung Ruoxua glanced at the black-robed man. "Forgive me for being slow-witted, but I don't understand what Miss Lung is saying." The man in black pretended to be stupid. "You don't understand? A member of the Ning family?" Lung Ruoxua suddenly asked. Even though there was a hint of doubt in her words, her expression was very certain. "No, I'm not." The black-robed man denied frantically. When Uncle Long and the others heard Shui say that the other party was from the Ning family, they were all shocked, especially Master Ning, whose eyes were about to pop out. Then, Master Ning rushed to the man in black, grabbed him by the collar, and asked, "You're from the Ning family? What's your name? Which room is she from?" "I'm not a member of the Ning family." The man in black was so frightened by Master Ning's sudden action that his face turned as pale as a sheet. However, he still denied Lung Ruox's words. Seeing that the other party refused to admit it, Master Ning turned to Lung Ruoxue and said, "Swear, I don't think he's from the Ning family. The Ning family wouldn't act like this when they see me. Godfather, Qing Ju has read his heart." With a faint smile, Lung Ruo told him the truth. This time, Master Ning didn't say anything, and turned his head to glare at the man in black in front of him. However, the black-robed man clearly did not understand the meaning behind Lung Ruoxue's words. He stubbornly stuck his neck out and continued to argue, "I'm not a member of the Ning family. Miss Lung, please don't give me an identity." "What, do you think that your identity as a member of the Ning family has embarrassed you? Or do you think you're not qualified to be called a member of the Ning family?" Hearing this, Lung Ruoxue continued to ask with a smile. "None of them. I'm not a member of the Ning family anyway." The man in black roared at the top of his lungs as Lung Ruoxue pressed on. At this moment, he had already thrown all his fear to the back of his mind. The only thing he wanted to do was to deny it. He didn't believe that as long as he refused to admit it, the other party would still be able to pin the Ning family's identity on him. Lung Ruoxue was not bothered by his stubbornness. She smiled and said, "What, you think you've embarrassed the Ning family? If you knew this would happen, why did you do that?" 1. Chapter 2861. Are you threatening me? 1. Miss Lung, don't talk nonsense. I'm not a member of the Ning family. How could I embarrass the Ning family? Lung Ruoxue had already put it that way, but the man in black still refused to admit it. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue smiled faintly and walked to the side of the man in black. "It seems that you really don't like your identity as a member of the Ning family, otherwise you wouldn't have refused to admit it. Forget it, since you don't want to acknowledge it, I can't force you to acknowledge it so as not to really lose Godfather's face." Lung Ruoxue's words angered the man in black so much that his entire body trembled. He was unable to form a complete sentence even after a long time. At this moment, Lung Ruoxue couldn't be bothered with him anymore. She turned her gaze to her godfather and said, "Godfather, they are the third elder's men." Master Ning immediately understood. Then he looked deeply at Lung Ruoxue and sighed in his heart. He knew that the Ning family's matters could not be hidden from this girl. But this was good too, at least Schwer understood him. Then, Master Ning's sharp eyes turned to the man in black and he asked indifferently, "Did third brother ask someone to do this? What is it? I don't understand." Seeing that he couldn't hide it anymore, the black-clothed man didn't quibble that he wasn't a member of the Ning family, but he still didn't know. "Godfather, there's no need to ask him. He's just a small fry and doesn't know much." Seeing that the black-robed man was still trying to hide the truth, Lung Ruoxue did not want to give him any more chances. "All right, I'll go find third brother." Hearing this, Master Ning stood up and walked out angrily. Uncle Long and the others looked at each other, then they got up and followed him. Seeing that everyone had left, the black-shirt man thought that he was free. Just as he was about to cheer, he suddenly realized that there were a few more golden little bees around him. What are you guys doing?" The man in black shivered. The gazes of these little golden bees were much fiercer than before. What were they trying to do? What do you want? Kid, without the order of our boss sister, you can forget about escaping. You're under our watch now, so don't ever doubt our intelligence. Brothers, go. Take him down. A golden bee grinned evilly and said to its brother. When the other golden bees heard this, they immediately buzzed with joy. Then, they quickly enlarged their bodies and charged toward the man in black. After a few bees hit each other, the man in black fainted. Then, the bees grabbed the man's legs and dragged him out. At the same time, the aggressive Master Ning also rushed to the area of influence assigned to the third elder. Lung Ruoxue and the rest followed him all the way, but they could not keep up with their godfather's footsteps. They were completely shaken off by the exasperated Master Ning. Of course, Master Ning didn't mean to shake them off, but no one expected him to walk so fast. When they didn't pay attention, he had already disappeared. And they didn't know where the third elder's territory was, so they could only go to the Ning family to find the second elder first. The second elder of the Ning family knew why they were here. He immediately brought Lung Ruoxue and the rest to the territory of the third elder. The second elder was about to leave when he arrived at the third elder's territory, but when the guard saw him, he said, "Second elder, long time no see. Third elder is waiting for you." When the second elder heard this, his face was full of doubt. Third brother was waiting for him? Was this a joke? Thanks, ever since third brother had been chased out of the family by the old ancestor, he had not been in contact with them at all. How could he wait for him? However, the second elder of the Imperial Guard recognized the person who had spoken. Hence, he did not doubt the other party's words and stayed behind with Lung Ruoxue. After that, they were respectfully invited into the city. The guard brought Lung Ruoxue and the rest to a tall, grand courtyard that was exactly the same as the Ning family's main residence. He then turned and left. Looking at the tall and magnificent courtyard, Lung Ruoxue turned to second elder and teased, "Second elder, it also says the Ning family's main residence. Which one is the real one?" "Of course it's real." The second elder of the Ning family frowned. "Are you sure? Do you know what kind of feeling this place gives me?" Lung Ruoxue asked indifferently. "Of course I'm sure. We're the master of the Ning family, so please don't think too much, Miss Lung." The second elder of the Ning family said. But in fact he was also a little uneasy. He didn't know what his third brother was up to. He had already been expelled from the Ning family, so how could he still use the name of the Ning family's main residence? Wasn't he trying to make them look bad? More importantly, how was this the Ning family's main residence? The second elder was a little unhappy, but he didn't show it. After that, they were all invited into the living room by the servants. Sitting in the living room, Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face maintained a faint smile, while second elder's uneasiness grew heavier and heavier. Because along the way, he had discovered that every blade of grass, every tree, and all the decorations were basically no different from the real Ning family's main residence. What was she trying to do? Suppressing his anger, the third elder finally arrived. Before the second elder could flare up, the third elder laughed and said, "Second brother, long time no see. Don't call me second brother, I'm not worthy of that title." Hearing this, the second elder said in a bad mood, "All right then. Second elder, how have you been?" The third elder tactfully changed his words. Then, without waiting for the second elder's reply, he turned his gaze to Lung Ruoxue. Looking at Lung Ruoxue, his heart was filled with hatred. If it wasn't for this woman, he wouldn't have ended up like this. "Third elder, how have you been?" Lung Ruoxue saw that the other party was glaring at her with hatred but did not say a word, so she could only take the initiative to speak. "Thanks to Miss Lung, my life is still going on." The third elder said indifferently and then asked, "May I know why Miss Lung has come here? Where's Godfather?" Lung Ruoxue didn't answer directly and continued to ask, "If the Godfather that Miss Lung is talking about is Master Ning, I don't see him." The third elder said in a light tone, "You didn't see it?" Lung Ruoxue squinted her beautiful eyes as she muttered to herself, "This is impossible. The old ancestor clearly came to your place." At this time, the second elder also had a look of disbelief. "Second elder, did you see Master Ning come to my place with your own eyes?" Hearing this, third elder also asked. The second elder was at a loss for words. Of course, he did not see it with his own eyes. He had heard it from Lung Ruoxue. Furthermore, there was no need for Lung Ruoxue to lie to him about such matters. Second elder turned to look at Lung Ruoxue with suspicion. Then he heard Lung Ruoxue say, "Third elder, if you're sensible, hand over your godfather. He's your biological father after all. How could you harm him?" "What?" Lung Ruoxue's shocking words scared the second elder so much that he jumped up in shock. He looked at Lung Ruoxue in disbelief before turning to look at the third elder. With a face full of disappointment, he shouted, "Third brother, you harmed our ancestor? You animal! I'm going to kill you to avenge our ancestor." Chapter 2862. Are you threatening me? 2. After the second elder finished shouting, he immediately pounced towards the third elder. When the third elder saw this, he did not panic and said, Second elder, can't you grow some brains? Don't be incited by this woman. What reason do I have to harm Master Ning? To think that we've been brothers for so many years, yet you easily believed an outsider's words, and even began to doubt me. When the third elder said this, his face was full of disappointment. When the second elder heard him say this, he was at a loss and didn't know who to believe. Not long after, the second elder took a few deep breaths and said, Miss Lung would not lie to me because of such a matter. Do you think I would lie to you about something like this? The third elder asked angrily. We'll talk about lying later. Hand over your godfather first. Lung Ruoxue didn't want to see third elder continue to play the family card, so she went straight to the point. When the second elder heard Lung Ruoxue's words, he immediately reacted, That's right. Quickly hand over the ancestor. Otherwise, I won't let you off. I told you Master Ning didn't come. Why didn't you believe me? The third elder said helplessly. It doesn't seem like you have the final say. Since you claim that Godfather isn't here, do you dare to let us search? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile. Sure, but what if you don't find anything? The third elder asked. If you didn't find it, doesn't that prove your innocence? What else do you want to do? Lung Ruoxue asked with a faint smile. You. The third elder was angered by his words. After taking a few deep breaths, he suddenly roared, If you can't find it, then you can all stay here. Are you staying for dinner? There's no need to be so polite. Lung Ruoxue played dumb. You must be dreaming. I'll leave you behind to be dealt with properly. The third elder roared. So you want to punish us? All right, let's see if you have the ability then. When Lung Ruoxue heard this, she was neither angry nor annoyed. Instead, she agreed. I'm looking forward to it, Uncle Long interrupted. Seeing the two of them echoing each other, the third elder was furious. He thought to himself, You'll see what happens later. After that, he suppressed his anger and gestured for Lung Ruoxue and the others to do as they pleased. Before the official search, Lung Ruoxue had secretly given them a few pills. Even though everyone was puzzled, they still took them when they were not prepared. After that, everyone dispersed and split up. Lung Ruoxue carried the baby and headed south. Third elder could not help but sneer as he watched Lung Ruoxue leave. Then, he sat back in his original position and leisurely drank his tea. Big sister, there are so many strangers, auras here. Along the way, Bao Bao whispered to Lung Ruoxue through telepathy. Yes, let's find Godfather first. Don't worry about the rest. Lung Ruoxue replied and quickened her pace. They arrived at a small courtyard that had been abandoned for a long time. Lung Ruoxue pushed open the door and walked in. Thanks. After entering, Lung Ruoxue lifted her beautiful eyes and searched carefully. From the outside, this small courtyard seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. However, the courtyard was unusually clean. There wasn't even a single weed. The courtyard was filled with bright red flowers, competing for beauty. Although the flowers were beautiful, they gave her a rather out-of-place feeling. Lung Ruoxue walked over to the flowers and observed them carefully. She stretched out her snow-white hand, wanting to pick one and look at it as much as she wanted to. However, the moment her hand reached out, the flowers moved. She saw many tentacles extending out of the center of the flower, rushing toward her. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue hurriedly retracted her hand. When the flowers saw that the delectable taste was gone, they seemed to be quite dissatisfied and started to shake violently. They even let out baby-like cries. What the hell was this flower? Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue really wanted to burn all these strange flowers. However, before she could do that, she heard light footsteps behind her. Lung Ruoxue turned around vigilantly and saw Third Elder leading a group of menacing men in black and had her surrounded. Third Elder, what are you trying to do? Blinking her eyes, Lung Ruoxue revealed a calm smile and pretended to be confused. I want to use you as fertilizer for my flowers. The third elder smiled evilly and spoke the truth. So that's how it is. However, my flower fertilizer is poisonous. Are you sure you want to do this? Lung Ruoxue remained calm as she asked. Poisonous? Can you poison the flowers here more than you can? The third elder said with confidence. That's true. However, before you use me as fertilizer, can you first answer a few of my questions? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile on her face, as though she had completely disregarded her own life. What do you want to ask? The third elder asked kindly. It was obvious that he had agreed to let Lung Ruoxue be the ghost that understood the situation. Where's Godfather? Lung Ruoxue's first question was the same as before. Of course, that old thing is in my hands. The third elder no longer denied it and laughed complacently. Why did you capture Godfather? Although Godfather has expelled you from the family, I know that he has not mistreated you. But you still treat him like this, are you still human? Lung Ruoxue questioned him angrily. But, did he treat me as his son? He's just an old man who's helping an outsider. For an outsider like you, he's actually treating us like this. Is he still worthy of being my father? Yes. You're right, he did not mistreat us in some ways, but he expelled us from the Lung clan, which has already made it impossible for us to establish ourselves in the divine realm. Isn't that mistreating us? After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, third elder retorted with burning jealousy. You really think he did it for me? Lung Ruoxue could not help but ask. If it wasn't for you, then was it for me? The third elder asked in a self-mocking manner. Of course it's not for you, but it's definitely not just for me. Godfather was doing it for the Ning family. He hoped that the Ning family would be united, but you? What did you do this time? Lung Ruoxue retorted. What did I do? I want the Ning family to draw a clear line with you. Isn't that for the good of the Ning family? The third elder didn't think he had done anything wrong. Whether it's for the good of the Ning family or for your own selfish reasons, you know best. I'm too lazy to argue with you about this, but what I want to say is that Godfather definitely had foresight to drive you out of the Ning family. Otherwise, having a traitor like you in the Ning family would definitely be a fatal blow to the Ning family. Lung Ruoxue sneered. However, it's too late for you to say anything now. There's no way he'll let you leave today. After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the third elder laughed instead of getting angry. Don't worry, I don't plan on leaving just like that. In addition, I also want to know what benefits did that bitch Wu Yan promise you to make you work so hard for her? Lung Ruoxue continued to ask. Chapter 2863. Are you threatening me? 3. You know that too? It seems that I've really underestimated you. However, since you want to know, I'll tell you. God Lord Rhyme has promised me a Ning family. The third elder said smugly. What do you mean? Lung Ruoxue asked in confusion. From now on, I'm the master of the Ning family. The third elder said with a smile. What about the current Ning family? Lung Ruoxue asked again. Of course it doesn't exist. In the future, the divine realm will only have my Ning family. Third elder had made it very clear. Lung Ruoxue nodded her head and said, So you're saying that you're planning to destroy the current Ning family? Not bad. The third elder didn't deny that he had such thoughts. Do you think you have that ability? Lung Ruoxue sized up third elder carefully, but she couldn't figure out where this fellow got his confidence from. God Lord Fog Ripple will naturally help me. Besides, isn't Master Ning already in my hands? The next one is that idiot second elder. The third elder laughed wildly. Third brother, you animal. How can you treat the Ning family like this? Before the third elder could finish laughing, the second elder's angry voice was heard. The furious second elder didn't care about Uncle Long's attempts to stop him. He jumped to the center of the arena and began to curse at the third elder. What's wrong with me treating the Ning family like this? And how did the Ning family treat me? Although the third elder was a little surprised to see the second elder, who should not have appeared here, he still replied in a self-righteous manner. How did the Ning family treat you? Other than banishing you, did the Ning family give you less territory or property? But what did you do this time? You colluded with the Ripple Mist bitch to harm our ancestor? Are you even human? But if I had known you were like this, I would have let my ancestor strangle you to death when you were young. You animal. The second elder cursed. However, The third elder didn't take his words seriously and said fiercely, "Yes, you gave me a lot of territory and wealth, but you made me unable to establish myself in the divine realm and made my clansmen become ants that everyone in the divine realm loathed and could step on. Do you think I won't hate you? Your Ning family has always been high and mighty, but have you ever thought about the feelings of us expelled people? If you didn't make any mistakes, would you have been expelled by the old ancestor?" Although the second elder knew that the third elder and the others wouldn't have a good time, he never thought that someone would dare to bully the third elder. After all, the third elder was a reverent god, so he couldn't possibly be bullied by a few pieces of trash, right? However, the third elder's words implied that their lives were rather miserable. But who could he blame? It would have been better if the second elder hadn't said that. What he said completely infuriated the third elder. Immediately, the third elder roared, "I made a mistake? I just want the Ning family to draw a clear line between themselves and Lung Ruoxue, this troublemaker. Is that wrong? Am I not doing this for the good of the Ning family?" The second elder didn't know how to refute the third elder's words. After all, there were many clansmen in the family who had such thoughts at that time. Even he had almost wavered at one point. Fortunately, he followed the orders of the ancestor. Therefore, as long as it was the ancestor's decision, he would fully support it, whether it was right or wrong. However, third brother was different. This fellow had been rebellious since he was young. This time, he had even offended the old ancestor because of Lung Ruoxue's matter, which resulted in him being expelled. Hence, he more or less sympathized with third brother's situation. However, he could not say that third brother's actions were right just because he sympathized with him, right? No matter what reason you have, you shouldn't have threatened the ancestor. As he thought of this, the tiny bit of sympathy he had for the third elder disappeared without a trace. People, when one did something wrong, they would always find thousands of reasons for themselves. They would not find the reason from themselves. They would even try to blame the mistake on others to prove that their choice was right. But was this useful? The crowd's eyes were sharp. It was not as if they did not have the ability to judge right from wrong. Hence, he really could not understand why third brother would want to go against Lung Ruoxue so wholeheartedly. Was it just because of the little grudge between them? One had to know that he and Lung Ruoxue had some personal grudges in the past. But now, both of them had let go of their grudges with a smile and were getting along quite well. Why couldn't third elder learn from him? Thinking of this, the second elder wanted to persuade the third elder to turn back from the wrong path. But just as he started, he was stopped by Lung Ruoxue. "Second elder, don't waste your breath. Third elder has already joined Rime Ice sect." Lung Ruoxue said calmly. "What?" The second elder was shocked. "When did this happen? Didn't it happen after third brother was expelled from the Lung family? Old man, you're such a fool. You still want to persuade him. He's long been Rime's dog, it's just that you don't know about it." Seeing the second elder's shocked expression, Bao Bao told him the truth. With its mind-reading ability, it had no problem reading the reverent god's mind. Therefore, the third elder's thoughts could not be hidden in front of it. How is this possible? The second elder was still in disbelief. This fact was far beyond his expectations. How could he accept this? Thanks, what's impossible? Didn't he go to the secret realm alone last time? Lung Ruoxue smiled. "Don't tell me that time." The second elder stopped halfway through his sentence. "Third elder, you were caught that time, right?" Lung Ruoxue asked despite knowing the answer. "So what if I am? Are you going to say that I've submitted to God Lord Fogripple just because I was captured?" The third elder retorted. "That's right. If you hadn't sided with that witch, she would never have let you go. Besides, you've already admitted that you were her man, so why don't you admit that you sided with her back then?" A man's mind is so hard to understand." Lung Ruoxue sighed, while baby Su could not help but cover her mouth and laugh. After he was done laughing, Bao Bao said, "Sister, it's obvious. If he had turned to the old bitch, Rime Ice, at that time, he would have been the sinner of the Ning family. For tens of thousands of years, the Ning family had been free, but he had found a master for the Ning family. It would be strange if the old man of the Ning family let him off. If old man Ning had known all of this at the time, he wouldn't have expelled him at all. I'm afraid he would have been killed long ago. That's true. Baby, why is this person still not satisfied when he has clearly gained an advantage? He always felt that it was the Ning family and godfather who mistreated him. How could he have the face to think that way? Lung Ruoxue was still echoing Baby Su's words and asked in confusion. Some human. He was just this shameless. Sister, let's ignore him and just cut it off. The baby suggested after he was done laughing. When the third elder heard this, he immediately sneered and said, "Cut me off. In your dreams. None of you will leave here alive today. Then what do you want? You want to keep all of us here with just a few men in black?" Lung Ruoxue blinked her beautiful eyes and asked innocently. "You'll know when the time comes." The third elder laughed. Then he whistled towards the sky and looked at Lung Ruoxue proudly. "Lung Ruoxue, prepare to die." "All right," he said. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. "I'm sorry to disturb you. Where should I throw this trash?" At this moment, an embarrassed voice was heard. The third elder turned around subconsciously and saw two handsome men standing not far behind him. At their feet, there was a pile of men in black, their fates unknown. And these? Uncle Long and the others also came over and threw a pile of garbage over. Looking at the man in black who had been thrown to the ground, the third elder was furious, while the other men in black who had survived were trembling. These people were so powerful. They didn't even notice the other party's silent arrival. What should they do? The men in black looked at third elder helplessly. The third elder, who had high hopes placed on him, could only be filled with anger and disbelief. "Why you here? Shouldn't you?" The third elder could not finish his sentence. The truth was that their plan to lure the enemy had failed. The other party was unscathed, while countless people on his side had died. This fact made third elder even angrier. "I'm sorry to have interrupted your plan." "Oh, your plan is perfect, but it's a pity that you've met us." Ice Spirit said guiltily. "We really didn't want to ruin your plan, but these men in black can't take a beating. So, we can only appear in front of you alive and well. You must be disappointed, right?" Uncle Long agreed. Disappointment? He was far more than disappointed. The third elder's lungs were about to explode from anger. These guys are really too detestable. He knew that the other party was not easy to deal with, so he did not rush to make a move from the beginning. He wanted to lead them to a place with a trap before making his move, but who knew that he would still fail? A sense of defeat welled up in third elder's heart, but he was not willing to be defeated just like that. He turned around and shouted at Lung Ruoxue with a burning rage. "Lung Ruoxue, take your men and leave this place immediately. Otherwise, you will see Master Ning's corpse. Bastard! Quickly release our ancestor." Hearing this, before Lung Ruoxue could even react, second elder could not control himself and jumped up in anger. If you want me to release her, we'll have to see Lung Ruoxue's performance." Hearing the second elder's words, the third elder suddenly felt that he had found the other party's weak spot. So he said with a proud smile, "Are you threatening me?" Lung Ruoxue asked calmly. Chapter 2864. Don't be sad, I'm no match for you. 1. That's right, I'm threatening you. The third elder laughed smugly as if saying, "I'm threatening you, what can you do to me? You think your threat will work on me?" Lung Ruoxue asked calmly when she saw how proud the other party was. "Of course, unless you don't want to save that old man anymore." Third elder felt that he had grasped Lung Ruoxue's weak spot and continued to threaten her. "Lung Ruoxue, I've changed my mind. You don't need to bring them away now. I want you to stay here and use you to exchange for that damn old man. How about it? What if I refuse?" Lung Ruoxue glanced at third elder and asked, "Then you'll immediately see that damn old man's corpse?" The third elder said viciously, "Who, you animal? Who?" Hearing this, the second elder cursed angrily. However, just as he cursed, Uncle Long covered his mouth. He was so angry that he could only glare at Uncle Long. However, Uncle Long didn't care about the glare. He just didn't want this idiot to ruin Shui Er's plans. Lung Ruoxue, you won't reject me, right? The old man loves you so much. At this moment, third elder saw that Lung Ruoxue had not replied and could not help but continue to provoke her. Yes, you're right. I'm going to reject it. Lung Ruoxue laughed coldly. Then, as expected, she saw the third elder's dumbfounded expression and the second elder's disbelieving face. Following that, Lung Ruoxue continued, You want to make me stay with just these few men? Aren't you a little too confident? That's right, you dare to threaten us? Do you think you're a rhyme bitch? Let me tell you the truth. Let alone your threats, even if that bitch Wu Cheng were to threaten us, we wouldn't fall for it. Uncle Long said with a smirk. You don't want to save that old man? Hearing the other party's words, the third elder's face turned black with anger, but he didn't give up. Of course we have to save her, but we don't plan on letting you go. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Shui, why are you still wasting your breath on him? Well, deal with him while you go and save the others. Ice Spirit, who had been watching for too long, couldn't take it anymore. All right, leave this old man alive. Lung Ruoxue warned. Then, before third elder could even react, she angrily kicked him again before leaving. Third elder, who had been kicked to the ground by Lung Ruoxue, could not react in time. By the time he regained his senses, he was already surrounded by Uncle Long and the others. Looking at the crowd surrounding him, third elder felt a chill in his heart. Was he going to just surrender? He was unwilling to accept this. With a furious roar, the third elder jumped up from the ground and attacked the second elder. Seeing this, the second elder was stunned for a moment. Then he was pushed aside by Uncle Long, who thought he was in the way. As a result, the third elder missed, and Uncle Long went to meet him. Seeing that his opponent had changed to Uncle Long, the third elder felt bitter in his heart. He didn't want to fight this old whale at all. His target was the second elder. After all, he knew that he still had a chance of winning against the second elder. However, if he were to face Uncle Long, he would not even have the chance to escape. The third elder was extremely depressed, but what made him even more depressed was yet to come. Thanks apart from Uncle Long, Bing Pe, Dongfang Yu and Dongfang Lin, who were unwilling to be left out, looked at each other and also attacked the third elder. The third elder, who was attacked from both sides, was so angry that he almost vomited blood. You bastard! The other party was actually launching a group attack. This was really bullying. The third elder was so angry that he wanted to curse, but the other party didn't give him a chance to do so. He was exhausted from dealing with the situation and was completely flustered. At this moment, Huanchen saw that there was no place for him to fight, so he wanted to drag third elder to deal with the black-clothed men's minions. Who knew that when he turned his head, he would find that the black-clothed men had all been knocked to the ground by the poisonous snakes, foaming at the mouth and twitching all over. The old viper looked at Huanchen with an embarrassed expression and grinned. I'm sorry, I didn't leave any for you guys. Hearing this, Huanchen's mouth twitched. This was already considered cheap, yet he was still acting innocent? Forget it, if he didn't leave any, then so be it. However, what should he do with these men in black? Before Huanchen could think of a solution, he saw the venomous snakes, under Old Snake's eye signal, each use their tails to carry a few men in black. They slowly walked to the flowers in the yard, and then uniformly threw the men tied to their tails into the middle of the gorgeous flowers. In an instant, the flowers who smelled the delicious food all went crazy. Countless tentacles reached out from the center of the flower and stabbed into the dead man in black. Seeing the man in black's blood being sucked dry and the corpse turning from plump and lustrous to shriveled, Huanchen's forehead was filled with black lines. Could he say that these flowers were definitely the best biological weapons to destroy the evidence? And these snakes, they were indeed from different families. If Shui was here, she would probably have the same thoughts as these poisonous snakes. And after doing all this, old venomous snake even looked a little embarrassed, as if he had snatched someone else's job and was too embarrassed to do it. Seeing this, Huanchen's mouth twitched even more. He already knew that baby SU subordinates were not good people, especially these snakes. But you've done something bad, can't you be more calm? What's there to be shy about? But at this moment, old venomous snake fearfully said, Lord Huan Chen, Miss Leng won't blame us for disposing of these black-clothed men's corpses without permission, right? I won tea, Huan Chen replied expressionlessly. However, he couldn't help but complain in his heart, because that girl would deal with it the same way you did. It had to be said that Huan Chen understood Leng Ruoxue very well. At this moment, Leng Ruoxue had already entered the only room in the courtyard. Under Qing Ju's guidance, Leng Ruoxue was familiar with the place and found the underground secret room as if she was walking in her own backyard. Leng Ruoxue easily undid the secret underground room's array and walked in. The secret room was pitch black, and the smell was not very fresh. Hence, Leng Ruoxue did not even think and immediately lit up a small flame. It instantly lit up the entire secret chamber, and at the same time, she could see everything inside clearly. At the very top of this secret room, there was a blood pool. In the middle of the pool, there was a huge blood cherry flower in full bloom. Not far from the blood pool, there were rows of prison cells. In the first cell, Leng Ruoxue had already noticed her godfather's figure. At this moment, Master Ning was unconscious. A wind blade shot out from Leng Ruoxue's fingertips and broke the lock of the cell. Then, Leng Ruoxue strode into the cell and fed an elixir to her godfather. She then helped him up. Not long after, Master Ning opened his eyes. Seeing the person in front of him, Master Ning couldn't help but be shocked. Shui, you were also caught by that beast? Chapter 2865. Don't be sad, I can't compare to you too. No, Godfather, I'm here to save you. Leng Ruoxue hurriedly replied. Shui, I thought I would never see you guys again. Seeing that Leng Ruoxue wasn't captured, Master Ning suddenly became weak and hugged Leng Ruoxue, wailing. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue could only try to coax him. After coaxing her godfather with much difficulty, Leng Ruoxue finally had the chance to check on her godfather's appearance. Other than his clothes being a little wrinkled, he did not have any external injuries. As for his mental state, it was not bad. She was relieved. After that, Leng Ruoxue turned her attention to the other people in the cell. Right now, in the prison cell, other than her own godfather, the only person she was most familiar with could only be the White Tiger race's Grand Elder. However, the appearance of the White Tiger race's Grand Elder was much more haggard than her godfather. Not only was his face pale, his clothes were also stained with blood. Shui, it looks like the three beasts were all captured by that beast. Master Ning's face was filled with hatred as he looked in the direction of Leng Ruoxue's target. Not only did that beast capture the three beasts, it also wanted him. Godfather, we'll discuss this later. You wake them up first. I'll go and kill that blood cherry blossom. As Leng Ruoxue spoke, she handed Master Ning a bottle of pills, then left the cell with her baby. When she returned to the side of the blood pool, Leng Ruoxue threw a ball of fire at it without a second thought. In an instant, the blood cherry blossom in the blood pool was enraged. The blood in the pool churned like boiling lava, with huge bubbles rising from it. The blood cherry blossoms flapped their huge petals and let out sharp shrieks. Arg! Human, I will not let you off. Blood cherry blossom was furious. It had already pretended to be dead, so why was this woman still not letting it go? Must they kill it? The blood Sakura had thought of this, but it could no longer control the anger in its heart. In reality, when it had sensed Leng Ruoxue's aura, it had been so frightened that it had not even dared to breathe. After all, this woman's flames were the absolute nemesis of it. Thus, it was very afraid and had wanted to play dead to avoid this calamity. Who knew that she had no intention of letting it go and still wanted to burn it to death? Seeing that it didn't show its might, did it think it was a sick flower? The furious blood cherry blossom knew that Leng Ruoxue was not easy to deal with. Hence, it did not hold back from the start. Countless feelers extended out from the center of its pistil, baring its fangs and brandishing its claws as it pounced towards Leng Ruoxue. Fuck! It's so disgusting. After dealing with third elder, Uncle Long, who had brought his men to support Lung Ruoxue, could not help but curse when he saw this scene. The second elder, who had never seen a blood cherry blossom before, was so frightened that her face turned pale. She immediately squatted on the ground and vomited in disgust. Seeing this, Uncle Long patted the second elder's shoulder sympathetically and said, "Second brother, you can't do it. You're vomiting just like that?" Hearing Uncle Long's words, the second elder was extremely depressed. "Can't you not call him second brother? And don't mention that he vomited, okay?" He felt so embarrassed. Why did he vomit? The second elder was obviously a little too worried, and the others couldn't help but laugh when they heard Uncle Long's teasing. Suddenly, the second elder felt his old face burning as if it was on fire. "So, this time, I've really lost a lot of face." The second elder was both worried and angry. He wanted to find a chance to prove his manly side. Thus, in the heat of the moment, he didn't even think twice before charging toward the blood cherry blossom's feelers. Second brother must have suffered quite a shock. Uncle Long continued to tease the second elder. He's playing with his life." Ice Spirit was speechless. The second elder was already pitiful enough. Why was Uncle Long gloating? However, Uncle Long wasn't the only one who was gloating. Dongfang Lin, Huan Chen, and even the other vipers all hoped to see the second elder's heroic side, so they all began to cheer him on. "Thanks, second brother is mighty," Dongfang Lin yelled. "Second brother, all the best. I have high hopes for you," Huan Chen said, not willing to be outdone. Good luck. Good luck. Second elder, destroy these blood-sucking tubes." Old Venomous Snake led his descendants and cheered in unison. As for Lung Ruoxue, who was preparing to fight the blood cherry blossom, when she heard these voices, she was speechless and didn't know what to say. Then, from the corner of her eye, she saw the main character of the voice madly rush into the middle of the tentacles. Instantly, Lung Ruoxue's face darkened. The second elder had gone mad. The appraisal was complete. He was basically delivering food to the blood cherry blossom. As expected, the blood cherry blossom welcomed the second elder's suicidal rhythm. It spread out several tentacles in order to welcome the other party's embrace. As soon as the second elder rushed into the middle of the tentacles, he tragically discovered that he was tightly bound by them. Save me. Save me." The second elder was a little scared. More importantly, when he looked at the tentacles up close, he felt even more disgusted, especially when he saw the red blood flowing on the transparent walls of the tentacles. He felt that he would never want to eat again in his life. It was too disgusting. That idiot. Master Ning, who had saved the White Tiger Great Elder and the other beasts, couldn't help but curse when he saw this scene when he came out of the cell. "Master Ning, please save him. Otherwise," the weak White Tiger First Elder couldn't help but worry when he saw the Ning family's second elder's miserable state. He had suffered the same pain before, so he knew the pain very well. "Don't worry, with Schwer here he won't die," Master Ning said with some disappointment. Seeing that Master Ning was not worried at all, the Great Elder of the White Tiger could only keep silent. At the same time, Lung Ruoxue moved closer to the blood cherry blossom, causing the petals to lean back in fear. They were afraid that the flames on the other party's fingertips would burn them. "What, are you afraid? If you're afraid, then let second elder go," Lung Ruoxue threatened. "Even if I let him go, you won't let me go. That's why I'm not that stupid. Even if I die, I'll take someone with me." Blood cherry blossom roared angrily. "Miss Lung, save me." Listening to the conversation between Lung Ruoxue and the flower, the second elder said weakly, "So, can you please save him first?" "You shut up." Feeling that second elder was a little noisy, Lung Ruoxue first shouted at him before turning to the blood cherry, "If you let him go, I'll let you die a quick death. Otherwise, I'll definitely make you wish you were dead. Little flower, you're a smart flower. You should know how to choose, right? He's going to die anyway, so don't think that I'll let this stupid old man off." After hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the blood cherry blossom was still unwilling to relent. It even felt that it would only be safe with this old man in its hands. When Lung Ruoxue heard the other party's words, she smiled indifferently and said, "Little flower, this isn't your style. Didn't you want to fight me to the death just now? Come on. Show me your attitude, they'll be waiting for you." Chapter 2866. Don't be sad, I'm no match for you. 3. Do you think I'm that easy to fool? I wanted to fight you because I didn't have any other targets to use. Now that I have one, who would be so stupid as to want to die? Human, if you want me to let this old man go, you have to let me go. I'm not joking. Blood Cherry Blossom roared viciously. When everyone heard Snow Cherry Blossom's threat, they couldn't help but sigh. Since when did a flower become so intelligent? However, they also knew that this flower wasn't an ordinary flower. In this case, it was normal for this flower to threaten others. Human, think about it. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue didn't give any response, Shui Cherry Blossoms considerately asked, "There's no need to think about it. It doesn't matter to me whether this old man is alive or not. If you like him, you can take him. So, you still have to die." Lung Ruoxue followed Shui Yinghua's lead. Then, she couldn't help but ask the second elder, "Second elder, I definitely won't let go of this flower. So, for the sake of the divine realm's stability, for the sake of exterminating the Ripple Mist bitch as soon as possible, you should sacrifice yourself. When the time comes, we will hold a grand funeral for you and announce your heroic deeds to the entire divine realm. You can rest in peace." The moment Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the second elder closed his eyes and fainted. Blood Cherry Blossom was so angry that she was trembling. Was the other party really not going to care about this old man? It didn't believe it. In order to verify the truth, the furious Blood Cherry Blossom decided to directly suck the second elder's blood. But at this moment, several blades of divine power flew over from all directions and cut off the Blood Cherry Blossom's feelers. The second elder also fell to the ground with a bang. The second elder, who had fallen to the ground, rolled over and got up, quickly retreating from the range of the Blood Cherry Blossom's tentacles. The second elder, who felt that he had just escaped death, was now covered in cold sweat, and his face was deathly pale. After returning to the safe area, the second elder, who thought he could be comforted, was rewarded with Master Ning's iron fist. The second elder, who was beaten, could only cry, but did not dare to seek justice. He almost lost his life and was beaten up. Was there anyone in this world who was more miserable than him? However, the second elder, who knew that he was in the wrong, did not dare to say anything. He could only look at his own ancestor with an aggrieved expression. Idiot! He didn't know what was good for him. With your little strength, you still dare to move forward. Don't you see who here isn't stronger than you? The master of the Ning family shouted. The second elder obediently looked around and discovered to his dismay that, not counting the White Tiger race's Grand Elder and the other beasts that had just been rescued, the strength of everyone present was truly above his. Even those poisonous snakes were not something he could compare to. That was because they were poisonous and he did not. So, I'm a reverent god after all, how did I end up in such a situation? He actually became the weakest among all of them? How could he endure this? Just as the second elder was lamenting to himself, Bing Yao, who had been watching the show from behind her father, stuck out her cute little head and consoled, "Second elder, right? Don't be sad, my strength can't be compared to yours, so my father only let me watch the show. We can be considered to be in the same boat." Was this comforting? After hearing this, the second elder felt even worse. So, this consolation really hurt his self-esteem. He was actually on the same level as the Qilin cub. How was he going to face others in the future? When the others heard this, they couldn't help but laugh. Seeing this, the second elder only wanted to find a hole to hide in. However, he was not the only one who had a bad feeling. Compared to the second elder, Blood Cherry Blossom's feelings could only be worse. It had never dreamed that the human it had captured would be so shameless as to pretend to be unconscious so that it would let its guard down. But what it hated more was that some humans had actually launched sneak attacks. How detestable! Despicable human! At the thought of this, Blood Cherry Blossom could not help but roar at Lung Ruoxue in a vicious and furious manner. Damn human, you deliberately attracted my attention just to let others save you? You're right, so I've decided to give you a reward. Little flower, die. As soon as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the flames in her hands expanded by several times. Then, a ball of fire flew towards the Blood Cherry Blossom, instantly trapping it in a sea of fire. The Blood Cherry Blossom let out a series of agonized curses from within the flames. As the flames burned, the curses grew softer and softer. By the time Lung Ruoxue retracted her flames, the Blood Cherry Blossoms had already turned into ashes. The blood in the pool turned into dust and dissipated into the air. After that, Lung Ruoxue turned around and saw that the White Tiger Grand Elder and the other beasts had all been rescued. She then led the group out of the secret chamber. On the way out of the secret chamber, Lung Ruoxue saw that everyone on her side was present. She asked curiously, "Where's the third elder? Who's watching? Don't let that guy get away." Hearing this, Ice Spirit and the others had strange expressions. No one said anything. As for Old Venomous Snake, he said with an embarrassed look, "No one is watching." Did he knock her out? Lung Ruoxue guessed. Following that, she heard Old Venomous Snake's conflicted expression as he stammered, "All of our snakes bit him, so he's deeply poisoned. He won't wake up for a while." Looking at the countless little snakes in front of her, Lung Ruoxue's face darkened. Every snake bit him once? Could she say that she was starting to pity Third Elder? When Master Ning heard this, he patted Old Viper's head and said, "Good job. That beast has to be punished like this." Thanks, the old poisonous snake was a little embarrassed by Master Ning's praise. In fact, it really wanted to say that it was not a punishment, but that no one was willing to stay outside to watch that guy, and the snakes were not willing, so they bit him. While they were talking, they had already reached the courtyard. At this moment, the only person still gasping for breath in the courtyard was Third Elder. As for the other black-robed men, Lung Ruoxue could only see their black clothes, but they were all gone. However, Lung Ruoxue understood when she saw the men in black lying among the flowers. Whose idea was this? Lung Ruoxue pointed at the black clothes among the flowers and asked calmly. It's me." Seeing that no one answered, Old Venomous Snake had to admit it. "Not bad, but it's not very clean." As soon as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, a small flame floated above the flowers. In an instant, the flowers were set ablaze. From the flames, a human-like sobbing sound could be heard. The group of venomous snakes was a little dumbfounded when they saw this. This was much cleaner, but they didn't have fire? After that, the snakes saw that Uncle Long and the others were used to it. They knew that they hadn't done it thoroughly enough. However, Lung Ruoxue's way of doing things had won the hearts of all the snakes. In an instant, Lung Ruoxue was viewed as the absolute idol by all the vipers. Even the great beast deity was ranked behind Lung Ruoxue. After dealing with the men in black, they set Third Elder's main residence on fire. Lung Ruoxue and the rest then carried the unconscious Third Elder and returned to the White Tiger territory. As for the rest of the Ning family, the Second Elder would deal with them. With the experience of escaping from death, Lung Ruoxue and the rest believed that Second Elder would not be soft-hearted towards the Ning family members who had been led astray. When they arrived at the White Tiger race's territory, Lung Ruoxue and the rest immediately returned to the mountain stream where they had stayed previously. The remaining Golden Bee tribe was overjoyed to see them return. "Little Bumblebee, pack up your things. We're preparing to go home." Lung Ruoxue smiled as she spoke to the little thing that was dancing in front of her. When the bees heard this, they danced even more happily before they disappeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. When they reappeared, they had clearly packed up. Then, a human-shaped piece of trash was thrown in front of Lung Ruoxue and the rest. Looking at the man in black, Lung Ruoxue turned to Master Ning and said, "Godfather, I'll leave this person to you. No need, just cut it off. I don't want to see him again." Master Ning didn't even raise his head and said directly, Don't waste it, let us test the medicine." The moment Shen Nua heard that, she hurriedly said, "All right." Master Ning was very generous. As for the unconscious man in black, he had no idea that his fate had been decided. But whether he knew or not, it was obviously not important to everyone. Following that, everyone did not say a word to the White Tiger race, and quietly returned to Demon City. The first thing Uncle Long did when he got home was to arrange a territory for the Golden Bee tribe and the poisonous snakes. Fortunately, they did not care about the size of the place as long as they could get closer to the beast deity. However, the Golden Bee tribe still had a small request, and that was that the place they lived in must have many flowers. Uncle Long heard this and thought, isn't it easy to spend more money? In the end, he decided to give a part of the garden to these little things as their territory. The Golden Bee tribe was naturally very satisfied with the garden. After arranging their living quarters, Uncle Long went to the living room to attend the hearing. The one being interrogated was, of course, the third elder, but when Uncle Long arrived at the living room, he realized that the third elder was still unconscious. What was going on? The interrogation hasn't started yet? After sitting down, Uncle Long looked at Master Ning, who obviously didn't look too good. He tried hard not to ask, but he was very curious in his heart. How far had they gone? After looking at the crowd for a long time, Uncle Long even coughed a few times deliberately to remind everyone of his existence. But Ice Spirit and the others only looked up at him and said nothing. Uncle Long was even more puzzled. In the end, he fixed his dazed gaze on Lung Ruoshua. Lung Ruoshua sighed and said, "Godfather, how do you plan to deal with this person? He's a sinner of the Ning family. This kind of person can't be kept. Just kill him." After a long time, Master Ning gave his opinion. Hearing this, Uncle Long was even more confused. They decided to kill him just like that? Chapter 2867. You've already been exposed. Stop pretending. 1. At first, Uncle Long thought that although this man had done something wrong, he was still the son of the Ning family's old boy, so he should at least be spared. Who knew that the old man from the Ning family would directly kill him without saying a word? What kind of situation was this? However, no one explained to Uncle Long, which made him anxious. Finally, Uncle Long couldn't take it anymore and shouted, "Can any of you tell me how the interrogation is going?" Towards the end, Uncle Long's voice subconsciously lowered as he faced everyone's surprised gazes. He even felt a little guilty. Sighing, Master Ning looked at Uncle Long again and said, "Not only did this beast seek refuge with Wu Yen, it has also hurt many of our people. Therefore, we can't stay here any longer. Then let's do it." Uncle Long didn't want to get to the bottom of it, so he agreed. "Schwer, help me deal with this beast. Don't let him die too easily." Master Ning stood up and said to Lung Ruoshue after hearing what Uncle Long had to say. He then left the living room alone. Watching her godfather's back view, Lung Ruoshue sighed softly. Then she turned her gaze to Third Elder, who was lying on the ground. With a thought, she moved Third Elder into the bracelet. After that, Lung Ruoshue also stood up and left. In the next few days, the Lung family's residence in Demon City was shrouded in a dark cloud. Lung Ruoshue and the others did not feel good because of Master Ning's sorrow and loneliness. When the second elder finished dealing with the third elder's problems and rushed to Demon City to report to the second elder, he clearly sensed the dejected atmosphere in Demon City. He was at a loss for what to do. The great ancestor ignored him, and Uncle Long and the others ignored him as well. The only people who talked to him every day were the golden bees and the poisonous snakes. So, how did he end up like this? The second elder was a little worried. The old snake couldn't stand it. He couldn't control others and wouldn't listen to him, but the second elder should be an obedient little guy. After thinking about this, old venomous snake poured all his love into second elder. Every day he would not only ask for warmth, but also prepare food and bring it to second elder. Unfortunately, second elder would feel nauseated at the sight of food, so he could only disappoint old venomous snake's love. However, the old viper didn't give up and continued to prepare food for the second elder. He was completely treating him as his own grandson. The final result was that the second elder hid far away when he saw old venomous snake. However, the old venomous snake was definitely a snake with quite a strong will. Therefore, under its relentless pursuit, the second elder fled from the land of demons in an extremely sorry state. The moment the second elder escaped, the white tiger race, dragon race, and phoenix race came knocking on his door. With a guest, Uncle Long and the others naturally couldn't be as lonely as before. Therefore, except for Master Ning, who was still worried, everyone else appeared in front of the three beasts in high spirits. In the living room, the three beasts looked at Uncle Dragon and the others uneasily. They wanted to say something, but they hesitated. Uncle Long saw that they didn't dare to say anything and got angry. "You bastard! If there's something to say, say it. If there's a fart, let it out. You're also hemming and hawing like a man? If there's something, just say it. Why are you so hesitant?" Uncle Long couldn't take it anymore. However, his words were still reserved. At least he didn't curse directly. Of course, this was also because he saw that the beasties in front of him looked extremely haggardly, so he was much more amiable. "Is Miss Lung around?" After hesitating for a long time, the White Tiger First Elder finally spoke as a representative. "She is, but Shui is cultivating. If there's nothing important, don't disturb her," Uncle Long said after thinking for a while. "Thanks. We would like to express our gratitude to Miss Lung in person," the White Tiger First Elder said after taking a deep breath. "Thank you? How do you want to thank me?" Uncle Long asked, blinking his eyes. The three beasts were dumbfounded. Uncle Long's words were so direct. How could they respond? They had prepared some gifts, but they were afraid that he would not like them. More importantly, they had a favor to ask of him. "You haven't thought about it? If you haven't thought it through, then go back first. We're very busy." Seeing that the beastie was silent, Uncle Long had no choice but to say, "Yes, we've prepared some small gifts." Seeing that the other party had the intention to chase him away, the White Tiger First Elder hurriedly said, "Oh, just leave it to me," Uncle Long said. The representatives of the three beast clans were completely dumbfounded. Did the other party mean that they were not allowed to see Lung Ruoxue? This can't do. With this thought in mind, an elder of the dragon tribe quickly said, "Uncle Long, on the account that we all have the bloodline of the dragon clan, can you let us meet Miss Lung? I said Shui is busy. I don't have time to see you. In addition, stop trying to get close to me. Who has the blood of the dragon race like you? I'm not related to you." Uncle Long didn't give him any face at all, and he immediately choked the dragon elder to the point that he couldn't say anything. Hearing Uncle Long's words, the great elder of White Tiger knew that it was useless to try to get close to him, so he could only tell him the truth. "Uncle Long, we have a favor to ask of Miss Lung." "You have a favor to ask? Why didn't you say so earlier?" Uncle Long asked faintly, but he couldn't help but sneer in his heart. These old things, are they always so blunt when they speak and do things? Do they have to beat around the bush? Wasn't it hard to say earlier? The White Tiger First Elder could not help but think to himself. Of course, he couldn't say this out loud. Otherwise, he would be ridiculed by Uncle Long and the others. After making up his words, the White Tiger First Elder said, "We had originally planned to personally beg Miss Lung." "You mean, other than Shui? We can't help you." Uncle Long interrupted the White Tiger First Elder before he could finish. It was obvious that Uncle Long was a little angry, and the White Tiger First Elder was even more at a loss. Originally, he had wanted to elevate Lung Ruoxue's status, but he had not expected that he would accidentally offend Uncle Long. What should he do? The White Tiger First Elder was at a complete loss. He could only look at Uncle Long with tears in his eyes and a pitiful expression. "Please be pitiful. But we really have no reason to help you," Uncle Long muttered to himself. The representatives of the three beast tribes immediately burst into tears upon hearing this. So, did this mean that he didn't want to care? "Uncle Long, don't be like this." After a long silence, the White Tiger First Elder finally pleaded with a choked voice. "How am I?" Uncle Long blinked in confusion. "Don't ignore us," the White Tiger First Elder said with tears streaming down his face. "Great Elder White Tiger, do you think Demon City is the savior? Who has to care?" Hearing this, Uncle Long laughed and couldn't help but ask, "I didn't mean it that way. We have a bit of friendship, right? The first elder of the White Tiger clan asked carefully. As he spoke, he looked at Uncle Long's expression, afraid that his words would anger the other party. Chapter 2868. You've already been exposed, stop pretending. 2. Great Elder White Tiger, we're just making a deal. Where's the friendship? Don't you forget that your 3 beast tribes betrayed us back then and were our enemies. Now you're asking for the enemy's help? How can the kings of your 3 clans bear this? Uncle Long sneered. Hearing this, the White Tiger First Elder was heartbroken. Was the other party going to fall out with him? However, it seemed like his race and Demon City really did have a deal. So, what should I do? Uncle Long glanced at the White Tiger Great Elder's bitter face and ordered, "Come, beast, bring the king of the 3 beast clans in." The little golden bees immediately received the order, and not long after, the kings of the 3 beast clans were led to the living room by a group of venomous snakes. The representatives of the 3 families didn't know what to say when they saw their king in such a sorry state. They didn't understand why Uncle Long had brought the 3 kings here. The 3 high-spirited beast kings were now dispirited. Their heads were drooped, and no one knew what they were thinking. At this moment, Uncle Dragon pointed at the representatives of the 3 beast races and said to the Phoenix King, the White Tiger King, and the Dragon Emperor, "These elders want to ask us for help. What do you 3 think?" Hearing this, the Phoenix King was the first to raise her head. When she saw the elder of the Phoenix tribe, she immediately roared, "Fuck! Did you guys take the wrong medicine? Who was the one who caused the Phone clan to fall to this state? You still want to ask them for help? Get back to the Phone clan and stop embarrassing me." Upon hearing the Phoenix King's angry roar, Uncle Long smiled faintly and said, "The Phoenix King seems to be in a good state of mind." Upon hearing this, the Phoenix King was shocked to realize that she had exposed herself. Your sister. Previously, she had pretended to be dispirited so that she would suffer less, but she didn't expect to be exposed so quickly. So, how was she going to live her days in the future? The Phoenix King was so regretful that his intestines turned green. She was the one who exposed herself. However, even though she was regretful, since she had already been exposed, she couldn't let herself suffer no matter what. So, without thinking, she kicked the White Tiger King and the Dragon Emperor's buttocks and roared, "You've already been exposed, stop pretending. Your sister. You're the one who's exposed. Why did you expose us?" The White Tiger King and the Dragon Emperor were enraged. For a moment, the 3 beast kings glared at each other like roosters. Seeing them like this, Uncle Long laughed very happily. On the other hand, the representatives of the 3 beast tribes blushed, and they wanted to find a hole to hide in. You bastard! This was their king? Was this really too embarrassing? However, Uncle Long obviously didn't think that they had embarrassed themselves enough. He smiled and said with an unusually kind attitude, "You guys haven't seen each other for so long. Catch up. Remember, don't fight. If you break anything here, you'll have to pay 100 times the compensation." After saying that, Uncle Long left with the others. When they returned to the living room, it was already a few hours later. Thanks after a few hours, the representatives of the 3 beast tribes were already in a sorry state. However, the kings of the 3 beast tribes were clearly in an even more miserable state. Especially the White Tiger King. When he saw Uncle Dragon, it was as if he had seen a family member. He immediately hugged Uncle Dragon's leg and started howling. He even begged Uncle Dragon to save the White Tiger race. Uncle Long was baffled. He turned to the White Tiger First Elder and asked with his eyes, "What did you feed this old white tiger? How did he suddenly become so weak?" "Fuck." She was even hugging his thigh. Uncle Long kicked the White Tiger King away in disgust and sat down on a chair. He then looked around the living room. Good, nothing was broken. It seemed that these beastie had completely taken his words to heart. "Uncle Long, please save the White Tiger race." At this moment, the White Tiger First Elder also knelt down in front of Uncle Long and cried bitterly. "First Elder of the White Tiger clan, what are you doing? Didn't you already save the White Tiger race?" Uncle Long blinked and asked in confusion. "Only a portion of them were saved. The other half is in the hands of that bitch, Wuchen. Speaking of this, the White Tiger First Elder was completely enraged. More importantly, the rescued clansmen had all lost too much blood, and their combat effectiveness had been reduced, including them. Although they were standing in front of Uncle Long and the others as if nothing had happened, in reality, their bodies were severely depleted and they were like arrows at the end of their flight. But we're also enemies, Uncle Dragon reminded the White Tiger King. Uncle Long, aside from Demon City, no one else can contend against that bitch, Rhyme. So, you can't just leave us here, right? The White Tiger First Elder quickly said. You're wrong. Right now, even Demon City can't contend against that Ripple Mist bitch. So, I don't think we can help you. Uncle Long said honestly. In fact, the reason why he rejected them was because he looked down on some of the Three Beast Clan's actions. They clearly had something to ask of him, but they didn't say it directly when they came. Who were they trying to play tricks with? They didn't have the time to play guessing games with each other. More importantly, Uncle Long felt that the other party was not sincere. As such, the Three Beast Tribes' request for help naturally failed. The representatives of the Three Beast Tribes choked with sobs upon seeing Uncle Long's direct rejection. Uncle Long was annoyed by their cries and couldn't help but shout, "What? Now you regret it? When you first joined the Fog Ripple bitch, why didn't you think that this day would come? Is this retribution?" It was undeniable that Uncle Long had vented his anger after seeing the Three Beast Clans in such a state. This was the result of asking a tiger for its skin. Initially, he had planned to let Schwer tame the ORCC from the Three Beast tribe. But now that he saw them in this state, he really didn't have any such thoughts at all. Even if such a beast was tamed, it would not be of much use. Uncle Long looked at the crying representatives of the Three Beast Tribes with a look of disdain and continued to roar, "Cry! You guys only know how to cry. A bunch of trash. To think that you all call yourselves the Four Great King Divine Beasts. Look at your current appearance. Do you have the aura of the Four King Divine Beasts? To tell you the truth, in our eyes, you are also our enemies and should be destroyed. And now that she's helped us, we can't thank her enough. You're still counting on us to help you save people? So what if he saved her? They will still become our captives." Uncle Long's words were venomous, but the White Tiger First Elder couldn't help but say, "Uncle Long, didn't you guys save us before? So what? Just because I saved you before, I have to work like a horse for you?" Uncle Long said hatefully. At this moment, he really regretted suggesting for Schwer to tame them. If it weren't for his suggestion, they wouldn't have known that the Three Beast Tribes had fallen, and they wouldn't have been entangled with them so naturally. But that was then and this was now. Seeing that the Three Beasts only knew how to cry and hug someone's thigh when they were in trouble, Uncle Long had completely given up on the idea of Schwer taming them. These useless beasts, even if they were tamed, it would only be a waste of food. Rather than that, it would be better to let them live and die on their own. In any case, since things had already come to this, they could no longer collude with the Rhyme bitch, nor would they pose any threat to them. Chapter 2869. You've already been exposed, stop pretending. 3. With that thought in mind, it was even more natural for Uncle Long to despise them. After that, he ordered the poisonous snakes to move out and send the representatives of the Three Beast Clans away. After the Three Orc tribe representatives were kicked out of Demon City, they didn't leave. Instead, they lingered at the foot of the mountain and decided to stay. In the living room, seeing Uncle Long drive away the representatives of the Three Beast Tribes, Dongfeng Yu couldn't help but tease. "What? You don't want Schwer to subdue them? Those trash. Other than doing some physical work, it's really not of much use." Uncle Long said in disdain. He regretted it. He regretted giving Schwer this stupid idea. Actually, Schwer doesn't need them to be of much use. They just make up the numbers. Dongfeng Lin said with a smile. Ah. Uncle Long was stunned. He had to see them to make up the numbers, right? Now, he really didn't want to see those useless people who only knew how to cry. Make up for what? Lung Ruoshua heard the conversation between Uncle Long and the others just as she walked into the living room. She couldn't help but ask curiously. Hee hee. Dongfang Lin smiled as he recounted what had happened to Leng Ruoxue in detail. After Leng Ruoxue heard this, she smiled faintly and said, "So be it. However, you have to collect the reward for saving them. Don't worry, I've already sent the thank you gift." Dongfang Lin smirked. Leng Ruoxue nodded her head. At this moment, the baby ran in happily and jumped into Leng Ruoxue's arms. "Sister, don't you need to practice beast taming? I've talked to Old Snake and the others, they're willing to let you tame them." "Really? Baby, don't force them to agree," Leng Ruoxue said sternly. "Miss Leng, Lord Beast Deity didn't force us to agree. We did it willingly," Old Venomous Snake, who had just arrived, quickly said. They knew that Leng Ruoxue's cultivation technique was different from the rest, and one of them required her to master the beast taming technique. In order to defeat Wu Jing, the old viper felt that it was necessary for them to support her. After all, they had a common enemy with Leng Ruoxue. In addition to their relationship with the beast god, they were extremely close to Leng Ruoxue no matter how one looked at it. Furthermore, they were very optimistic about Leng Ruoxue's character, so they did not reject the idea of becoming her beastie. As for Leng Ruoxue, after hearing Old Venomous Snake's words, she was so touched that she didn't know what to say. She even felt that her luck was really too good. There were always some kind and understanding beasties around her, and these beasties were so sincere towards her. She naturally had to return the favor. "Thank you, I won't mistreat you." After some thought, Leng Ruoxue only said this. Old Venomous Snake simply smiled and said, "Master, we finally don't have to call you Miss Leng this time." Hearing this, everyone could not help but laugh. After that, Leng Ruoxue and the rest came to the courtyard. The venomous snakes had already assembled. Other than the venomous snakes, the Golden Bee tribe had also rushed over to join in the fun. The Golden Bee leader looked at Leng Ruoxue and smiled in embarrassment. "We're here to join in the fun. Master won't mind us, right?" "Thank you." Leng Ruoxue touched the head of the leading Golden Bee. She would remember the sacrifices these beasts had made for her. In the future, they would all be his family. After successfully taming these beasts, Leng Ruoxue signed the equality contract with them. After that, she could clearly feel that her beast taming skills had improved by several levels. In fact, after she had arrived in the immortal realm, beast taming techniques had basically disappeared, so there was no way to test the levels of a beast tamer. There was also no detailed record of a beast tamer in the heaven-defying art. Therefore, she could only rely on her previous experience and slowly explore to advance. However, now it seemed that a beast tamer still needed to tame more beasts before they could successfully advance. Even though Leng Ruoxue wasn't sure what rank her beast taming technique had reached, she had a feeling that it wouldn't take much for her beast taming technique to reach the Great Circle. This result made her rather excited. When Uncle Long and the others saw the smile on Xue Er's beautiful face, they thought that her beast taming technique had reached the great success stage. However, when they asked, they found out that she was still lacking a little. Immediately, everyone's faces turned bitter again. The old viper didn't say a word and quietly left Demon City. Old Venomous Snake had left quite secretively, and no one had noticed him at the time. By the time they realized that Old Venomous Snake was gone, the other party had long disappeared. Everyone really wanted to ridicule Old Venomous Snake's elusive appearance. Why didn't this old fellow say a word before he left? 3 days later, Old Venomous Snake returned in high spirits. Looking at the old viper who seemed to have returned home in glory, Uncle Long, who was the first to see him, couldn't help but tease. "I say, Old Venomous Snake, you found a second spring? Why are you so happy? You've only just found a second spring. I've brought a lot of beasts for Master." Old Venomous Snake said proudly. "Thanks, Beastie? Where is he?" When Uncle Long heard this, he couldn't help but look up and down. However, other than the old poisonous snake, there was no trace of any other beastie. "They'll be here in a few days. We have to pack up and move the whole family." Old Snake said matter-of-factly. "That's true." Uncle Long nodded. Uncle Long was very grateful for Old Snake's kindness, but at the same time, he felt that he hadn't done enough. At least, he didn't have so many beasts in his hands to take out. Uncle Long was worried. Wait a minute. Wasn't he just a beastie? After being a human for so long, Uncle Long had almost forgotten that he was also a beastie. Now that he suddenly recalled it, he immediately left the old venomous snake and ran off to find Lung Ruoxue. Upon seeing Lung Ruoxue, Uncle Long said directly, "Shue, please tame me." The moment he said this, Lung Ruoxue was baffled. The others also looked at Uncle Long as if they were looking at a lunatic. "Uncle Long, if you haven't taken your medicine, go back and take it. Are you crazy?" The head elder of the Craftsmen's Guild headquarters couldn't help but ridicule. "You bastard! You're the crazy one. Your whole family has gone crazy. I'm speaking from my heart." Uncle Long exploded when he heard this. He was about to go crazy, especially when he saw that everyone else was looking at him with a look of deep agreement. "All right, truth. But why did you ask Schwerer to tame you?" The first elder of the blacksmiths still had a look of "Are you crazy?" on his face. He looked at Uncle Long. "Schwerer needs beastie, right? I'm the same," Uncle Long said matter-of-factly. This time, everyone finally knew the crux of the problem. However, after getting along with Uncle Long for so long, they had long since stopped treating him as a beastie. Lung Ruoxue felt the same way. When she heard Uncle Long's words, she was speechless as if she had seen a ghost. "Uncle Long, I've never treated you as a beastie, and I don't dare to tame you." "Schwerer, are you looking down on me?" Uncle Long said sadly. "No, in my heart, you're my elder. How can I tame you?" Lung Ruoxue was almost driven mad by Uncle Long's resentful tone as she hurriedly replied. "But this is for your cultivation." Uncle Long continued to persuade. "That's reasonable. I should also support you." Ice Spirit, who had been sitting silently on the side, suddenly spoke. Ice Spirit also joined in the fun, and this scared Lung Ruoxue so much that she couldn't sit still. Lung Ruoxue stood up from her chair and said carefully, "I suddenly remembered that I still have something to do, so I won't be accompanying you guys. Everyone please help yourself." With that, she disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing Lung Ruoxue running away in a panic, the Weapon Craftsman Guild's first elder sighed and said, "Look at how you've scared Schwerer. What are you trying to do?" "I'm serious," Uncle Long and Bing said in unison. It was undeniable that the actions of the poisonous snakes and the Golden Bee tribe had touched them greatly. This was something that they had never thought of before. Now that they thought about it, they were really incompetent. They had known Schwerer for a long time, but the poisonous snakes and bees had gotten there before them. Serious my ass. By doing this, have you ever thought about Schweer's feelings? She treats you like family, the chief elder of the Craftsmen's Guild reminded. That's why we should be in front of those poisonous snakes and bees. But now, we're clearly behind. Uncle Long said before the great elder of the Craftsmen's Guild could finish. No matter what you think, just give up on that idea. Sighing, the head elder of the Craftsmen's Guild said, "Yes, there are many beasts in the world. If there's not enough, you'll go to the lower realm to catch them. I don't need you to offer your bodies." Dongfeng Yu was also speechless. The lower realm beastie's strength is too low. It's useless to capture it, Uncle Long said in a low voice. Clearly, he had not given up yet. "I don't need you. Just do what you need to do," Dongfeng Yu said angrily. After being yelled at by him, Uncle Long immediately became obedient. However, whenever he saw Schwer, he could not help but want to mention this matter. It scared Lung Ruoxue so much that she did not dare to leave her room for a few days, afraid that Uncle Long would pester her. Fortunately, old venomous snake's actions were very effective. 5 days later, all the friends he had gathered had arrived, and Lung Ruoxue was finally able to escape from Uncle Long's pestering. The following taming process went smoothly. After signing the equality contract, Lung Ruoxue finally felt that her beast taming technique had reached perfection. This fact moved Lung Ruoxue to tears. More importantly, Uncle Long finally had no reason to pester her anymore. She no longer had to hide from Uncle Long in fear. Everyone was happy. When he found out that Lung Ruoxue's beast taming technique had finally reached the great circle of perfection, Uncle Long was initially a little disappointed because he was still unable to help. However, his disappointment only lasted for a moment. He immediately felt happy for Shui. However, he was also a little worried. Shui Er's beast-taming technique had reached perfection, so wouldn't the White Tiger King and the others be useless? One had to know that those three guys were prepared to make up for Shui Er's numbers, but now it was obvious that they were not being used, so how should he deal with them? Chapter 2870, First Time in the Chaos World, 1. After telling Leng Ruoxue about this, she suddenly recalled that there were 3 prisoners that could be tamed. However, what was the point of taming them? Be a servant? To be honest, she really didn't want to see those 3. Besides, Feng Zhan and Bai Su wouldn't let them go. If they escaped just because she had tamed them, she would be depressed to death. After some thought, Leng Ruoxue said, "Senior Ice Soul, didn't you want to deal with the 3 of them? But we can't kill them yet. After all, they're traitors. We can't let them die easily." Yes. Uncle Long nodded in agreement. He quickly took the 3 prisoners to find the ice spirit. As for Leng Ruoxue, after she had perfected her beast-taming technique, she immediately went to look for Shui Mo, and the 2 of them went to study the array together. Shui Mo was a formation fanatic. After he finally caught Leng Ruoxue, he wouldn't let her go. No one could ask him for her. Shui Mo even said that whoever wanted to snatch Leng Ruoxue from him would have to defeat him. When everyone heard this, they immediately gave up fighting for Shui and went to do what they were supposed to do. As for Leng Ruoxue, in order to buy more time, she brought Shui Mo into the bracelet and used time acceleration. This way, the 2 of them had more time to study the formation. Shui Mo, on the other hand, was relatively calm after seeing Shui Er's space. He only took one look before entering the room that Leng Ruoxue had prepared for him and buried his head in studying the array. Seeing this, Leng Ruoxue felt that she couldn't fall behind too much, so she quickly followed him in. Just like that, Leng Ruoxue continued to hide in the bracelet and focus on her own matters. The matters of Demon City were still left to Uncle Long and the others. Another 3 years passed. The people who had gone out to gain experience returned in high spirits. Mu Li and the others, who had been sent to watch over them, had also returned. The first thing Mu Li did when he returned was to ask about Leng Ruoxue. When he heard from Uncle Long and the others that Leng Ruoxue had once come out of closed-door cultivation, but was now in closed-door cultivation again, his face was filled with regret. "Why didn't you wait for me?" Mu Li was very depressed. He had been loitering outside for the past 3 years. Other than hearing about the situation in Demon City, he had never heard of Leng Ruoxue coming out of seclusion. Otherwise, he would have returned long ago. "Why wait for you? Are you the Lord?" Minga asked with a smirk. "We're also old acquaintances," Mu Li said dejectedly. In reality, he wanted to see Leng Ruoxue's current condition so that he could report to his lord. But now, there was no chance. "Old acquaintance or new acquaintance, Shui is very busy, I don't have time to reminisce with you now." After hearing Mu Li's words, Uncle Long also said, "Little dragon, why have you learned from Ming Ji? How dare you bully me?" Seeing that Uncle Long didn't help him, and was even suspected of hitting him when he was down, Mu Li was deeply worried. "You're my senior, how would I dare to bully you?" Uncle Long said as if he had been wronged. "You're all bullying me. Woo! Shui, come out and help me." When Mu Li heard this, she cried out in grievance. "What are you howling for?" All of a sudden, a slightly displeased female voice was heard. Everyone turned around when they heard it and happened to see Leng Ruoxue standing not too far away from them, looking at a certain someone with a helpless expression. Thanks, a certain someone was still unaware of it. When he saw Leng Ruoxue, it was as if he had seen his savior. With tears in his eyes, he pounced on her and hugged her leg tightly as he sobbed, Shui, you have to help me. They are all bullying me. They're bullying me for being alone." Wu, Leng Ruoxue's face darkened when she heard this. She forcefully pulled her leg away and said in a speechless manner, "Mu Li City Master, you're still alone? All right, quickly get up. Don't act pitiful." After not seeing her for a few years, why did Mu Li seem to have changed? Or was this his true face? Leng Ruoxue was disappointed. Mu Li saw that it was useless to pretend to be pitiful, so she got up resentfully and kept complaining. Didn't they say that you'll only be soft-hearted if you act pitiful? Could this information be wrong? That also depends on the person. You can forget about it. Hearing Mu Li's words, Leng Ruoxue was even more speechless. Shuai, how can you look down on me? Mu Li was unhappy when she heard that. She looked at Leng Ruoxue with a face full of resentment. Why do I feel that these words sound so familiar? Blinking her eyes, Leng Ruoxue couldn't help but look at Uncle Long. Instantly, Uncle Long's face turned red. He quickly changed the topic and asked, Shuai, how's your cultivation going? I've already perfected the formation, but am still lacking in alchemy and blacksmithing, mainly because I don't have the materials. Leng Ruoxue said, feeling a little depressed. Initially, she thought that she had prepared enough materials. Coupled with the years of hard work in the bracelet, her alchemy and weapon refinement skills had reached the level of a weapon god and an alchemy god. This was already considered the top level among alchemists and weapon masters. Who knew that Qing Ju would tell her that it was only the level of an ordinary alchemist and weapon master? The requirements for her were not that simple. If she wanted to be a paragon in alchemy and blacksmithing, she would have to be able to forge primal chaos divine pills and acquired primal chaos divine weapons. Just by hearing these two names, one would know that it must be something grand. In fact, this was indeed the case. Since they dared to call themselves chaos, they must be related to chaos. Therefore, in addition to the air of chaos, some of the materials needed must be produced in the land of chaos. This was the first time Leng Ruoxue had heard of the land of chaos, let alone the fact that she had no idea where it was. According to Qing Ju's explanation, the land of chaos was where he was born. That was the home of the living beings born from chaos. To put it bluntly, that place was also the home of his master and the demon. Qing Ju also said that the land of chaos actually bred many things, but only a few of them could become living beings. Those lifeless materials were the best materials to refine chaos divine pills and Hotian chaos divine weapons. However, the land of chaos was far and unknown, and it was not something that ordinary people could reach. She even said that she couldn't go now. When she heard this, Leng Ruoxue really wanted to curse the heavens. You bastard! If she couldn't go, how was she going to refine medicinal pills and divine artifacts? When Leng Ruoxue told Uncle Long and the others what Qing Ju had told her, they were dumbfounded. Can't go? Can't go? Then what should he do? Without the materials, Shuai's alchemy and weapon refinement could not reach perfection. If she could not reach perfection, it meant that Shuai could not advance. If she could not advance, she would not be able to fight against fog ice. This chain reaction was closely related. Wasn't this a scam? Originally, when Uncle Long heard that Shuai didn't have enough materials, he had wanted to ask her what she was lacking. But now that he heard it, what was it that he couldn't help with? Instantly, Uncle Long became depressed. Most of the people present were also depressed. The things that Shuai came into contact with were getting more and more high-end and sophisticated. It was obvious that ordinary Reverend God-level cultivators could no longer help her. Chapter 2871. First time in the Chaos World. 2. Everyone could not help but sigh. At this time, Mu Li blinked her eyes and asked carefully, "What's the relationship between the land of chaos and the Chaos World?" The chaotic lands are the chaotic world. It's just called differently. Suddenly, a voice interrupted. Mu Li looked up and then quickly turned back. He couldn't afford to offend this guy. "Wu? Girl, I can bring you to the land of chaos." The little white beast jumped into Leng Ruoxue's arms and said with a smile, "Song, if you leave, what will happen to the divine realm?" Leng Ruoxue asked worriedly. Right now, Fog Ice did not dare to cause trouble for Demon City. Her injuries had yet to fully recover, and her fear of Azure was another reason. If Azure was not around, that woman might cause trouble again. Don't worry, her injuries won't heal so quickly. Azure smiled evilly. Ever since Nyo and the others destroyed Rhyme's new base in the Ning family's divine realm, it could be said that the old bitch's injuries were even worse. Thus, he was not worried at all that Rhyme would take advantage of his absence to do some small tricks. Can I say something? Hearing the conversation between the man and the beast, Mu Li, who had wanted to play dumb, asked in a low voice. Speak. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Why was Mu Li acting like a mouse seeing a cat when she saw Tsang? Was there a need to be so afraid of Tsang? When he saw Tsang lie, he spoke so carefully and even asked, If you have a fart, then let it out. Tsang Yi said. His words were rough, and this guy was the demonic man's confidant, so he was naturally within the range of his rejection. In fact, I wanted to say that Master is in the chaos world. Mu Li took a few deep breaths and looked at Song Ho vigilantly before telling the truth. Where's the demon? Lung Ruoxue was astonished. Why did that fellow run off to the land of chaos? Are you bored? Yes, my lord and little Tian have been living there for several years. Mu Li nodded. Little Tian? Lung Ruoxue furrowed her brows. She didn't know why, but when she heard these two words, she felt a little uncomfortable. On the other hand, Azure had an evil smile on his face as he provoked, so that evildoer can't stand loneliness and is cohabiting with someone else. Girl, dump him. There are many good men out there. Lung Ruoxue was silent. How should she respond to this? Mu Li was so scared that he broke out in a cold sweat. This was slander. It definitely was. My lord. It's none of my business. It's that cat who wants to sow discord. If you have any dissatisfaction, please settle it with that cat. So, it really had nothing to do with him. Mu Li wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Uncle Long and the others who were listening by the side were also drenched in cold sweat. Did they hear some confidential information that they shouldn't have? Would he be killed? The evolution of the divine realm was becoming more and more dangerous. It made Uncle Long and the others want to go back to their hometown and hide. But it seemed like hiding was useless, right? They didn't understand the battle between high-end people. At this moment, Uncle Long and the others felt how small they were. Whether it was Tsang or Demon, if these two were to fight, it would definitely be a world-shaking battle. If things were not handled well, the divine realm would be in trouble. And now, they could only pray that Shuer was rational and wouldn't be angered by Tsang's words. Shuer, calm down. He had to stay calm. After turning their expectant gazes to Lung Ruoxue, Uncle Long and the rest smiled ingratiatingly, making Lung Ruoxue exceptionally speechless. Thanks. Did Uncle Long and the others think that she would be angry? Even if she was angry, she would not vent her anger on an innocent person. After giving Uncle Long and the rest a comforting look, Lung Ruoxue smiled at Mu Li and said, Since the demon is currently in the land of chaos, he'll have to trouble the Muley City Master to cooperate with me and open the space channel. I'm going to find him. Girl, there's no need to go through so much trouble. I'll take you there. It's better to leave these trash here. Song didn't give Mu Li a chance to reply and quickly replied. Of course, the trash it was referring to was Mu Li, Ming Ji, and the others. Yes, we should stay here. Let Senior Tsang take you there. When Mu Li heard this, he immediately agreed and very tactfully used the word trash on himself. In fact, every time he saw them, Tsang would directly call them trash. As he called them that, he got used to it. What about Uncle Long and the others? Lung Ruoxue asked again as she looked at Uncle Long, who was obviously looking forward to it. Let's go together. It'll also bring the little fellows of the divine realm to experience it. You should know that such an opportunity is rare. Azure waved his fat claws. Uncle Long and the others were very excited to see Tsang agree. He had to bring them along to broaden their horizons. Such opportunities were rare. Can I come along? Seeing that he didn't seem to have a share, Ming Ji still didn't give up and wanted to confirm. You're not from the divine realm, I don't care. I want to go find your master. Azure said in an unfriendly manner. Sob. Ming Ji burst into tears. Don't people always say that the guest will do as the host pleases? Why did the host leave the guest behind to look after the house? What kind of master was this? Mingo was so sad. As a guest, he really had no status. At the thought of this, he could not help but turn to look at Lung Ruoxue. However, Lung Ruoxue only smiled apologetically and said with a smile, "I'll leave Demon City in your hands." These words broke Ming Ji's heart. He deeply felt that he would never love again. So, what a pitiful customer. The heartbroken Minga glared at the excited Uncle Long and the others with tears in her eyes. Then she disappeared from the spot. He didn't want to see these hateful people anymore. They were too annoying. Hee, you guys go and have fun. Don't worry, I'll take care of Ming Ji and the others. Mu Li was afraid that Leng Ruoxue and the rest would feel awkward, so he quickly expressed his opinion. We're not worried. Leng Ruoxue replied honestly. Alright. He had done too much. Mu Li was in tears. After that, Leng Ruoxue and the rest started to make preparations for their journey. He brought all his family members, whether they were in closed-door cultivation or not. This was mainly to guard against the miasma's surprise attack, and those weak little guys became cannon fodder for no reason. With this, Demon City was practically empty. After the poisonous snakes, the Golden Bee clan, and the 3 clans fresh blood that had returned from their training were all taken away by Leng Ruoxue, the Qilin clan's Qilin clan also strongly requested to go for a trip when they heard the news. In the blink of an eye, only Mu Li and a few others were left in the huge Demon City. Looking at the empty main residence and the entire Demon City, Mu Li really felt like a gatekeeper. And this feeling was really not good. However, Leng Ruoxue couldn't care less. After packing everyone up and bringing along quite a bit of food, she carried Azure and left Demon City for the god-protecting pagoda. After leaving Demon City and reaching the foot of the mountain, Leng Ruoxue was suddenly blocked by a white tiger that had appeared out of nowhere. The white tiger blinked its watery blue eyes and looked at Leng Ruoxue. As she watched, she suddenly burst into tears without any warning. Leng Ruoxue's face darkened. Chapter 2872, First Time in the Chaos World, 3. Who was this white tiger? Leng Ruoxue's face was filled with question marks. These beasts all looked the same in their original forms. Unless they had been with each other for a long time, she really couldn't recognize them. Especially when the white tiger was still crying. Leng Ruoxue was annoyed by her crying and said in a bad mood, "Why are you crying? Did I bully you?" She was the one who was blocked, okay? Didn't people say that good dogs don't block the way? Now, it was actually a tiger blocking the way. Miss Leng, please don't leave us alone. The white tiger immediately sobbed when it heard this. Do I know you? Leng Ruoxue blinked her eyes. Hearing this, could it be that she had given up on him? I'm the great elder of White Tiger. Don't you recognize me? The white-colored great elder said with a sad expression. It's you. Is there something you need? Leng Ruoxue played dumb. She had heard about the 3 beast clans' request from Uncle Long and the others. However, she was powerless to do anything about it. Moreover, she didn't expect that after 3 years, the White Tiger Great Elder was still guarding the foot of the Demon City's mountain. His perseverance made her admire him a little. Although 3 years was nothing more than the blink of an eye for a cultivator, it was clearly not easy for the proud White Tiger First Elder to guard him for 3 years. This could also prove that the White Tiger race was really at a life and death juncture. Otherwise, this old man wouldn't be loitering around here. Miss Leng, only you can help us. The White Tiger First Elder said with tears in his eyes. After guarding for 3 years, he had finally met Leng Ruoxue. It had not been easy. I wonder how I can help you? Hearing this, Leng Ruoxue smiled faintly. Some of our clansmen are still in the hands of that witch. The White Tiger Grand Elder cut straight to the point. I'm sorry, Grand Elder White Tiger. You've seen my strength for yourself. I can't beat that fog ripple bitch. Leng Ruoxue interrupted the first elder of the White Tiger clan before he could finish his sentence. I know that it will be difficult for young Miss Leng to exterminate miasma right now. We can wait. As long as young Miss Leng is able to exterminate that woman and rescue the White Tiger tribesmen one day, it will be fine. As a reward, I am willing to lead the White Tigers to acknowledge young Miss Leng as their master. The White Tiger First Elder gathered his courage and said. It was afraid that Leng Ruoxue would not let it finish its sentence, so it spoke very quickly. It was willing to acknowledge her as its master because it had heard from a certain clan member that Lung Ruoxue needed to be tamed. As such, it felt that the other party would definitely be satisfied with its reward. However, it could never have imagined that the news about it was already old. Lung Ruoxue had even told it directly that she no longer needed Beastie. Upon hearing this grievous news, the White Tiger First Elder was immediately dumbfounded and fell to the ground, crying bitterly. When Lung Ruoxue saw this, the black lines on her forehead gradually increased. The First Elder of the White Tiger cried out pitifully as if the sky was about to fall. However, to him, not being able to make Lung Ruoxue agree to save his clansmen was no different from the sky falling. Looking at the huge white tiger crying like a child in front of her, Lung Ruoxue couldn't deny that her heart had softened. After all, she didn't have much of a conflict with the White Tiger First Elder. In fact, this old white tiger had always tried to maintain a good relationship with her. Now that she saw it crying like this, she didn't feel good. Alright, don't cry. As long as your clansmen can hold on, I'll naturally save them after the rime ice is destroyed. However, I can't guarantee the time. Lung Ruoxue, who had always been at her wits' end, sighed. Hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, the White Tiger First Elder suddenly raised his head and stared at her with his watery blue eyes that had just cried. He was in disbelief. It didn't hear wrong, right? The other party agreed? Thank you, Master. I believe my people can hold on as long as you are willing to save them. After obtaining Lung Ruoxue's promise, the White Tiger First Elder was invigorated. Wait, don't call me Master, saving them was just a passing act. Lung Ruoxue stopped him with a look of disdain. She didn't want to take in these useless people now. When the White Tiger First Elder heard this, he was dumbfounded again. He was not allowed to call her Master? This meant that he would not accept his reward. Was this person really the Lung Ruoxue it knew? Was she the Lung Ruoxue who would definitely receive payment for helping? Could it have been switched? Since when did Lung Ruoxue not ask for rewards for doing good deeds? White Tiger's First Elder looked at Lung Ruoxue as if he did not know her. However, Lung Ruoxue couldn't be bothered to explain to the other party. From her point of view, even if she didn't accept these guys, someone else would naturally accept them. If that was the case, why would she bother to do anything? After that, Lung Ruoxue turned to the White Tiger First Elder and said, "Now, make way. I have something to do and I don't know when I'll return, so you don't have to stay here." Oh! The depressed White Tiger First Elder opened up a path and sent Lung Ruoxue away with his resentful gaze. However, he did not choose to leave and instead gathered more white tigers. The White Tiger First Elder felt that since Lung Ruoxue was not around, they should help guard the door and the forest, in case some blind people came to cause trouble. Although the White Tiger's strength had regressed a lot, they still had a deterrent force. Just like that, without Lung Ruoxue's knowledge, a few uninvited gatekeepers appeared at the foot of the mountain. As for Lung Ruoxue, she brought Azure along as they continued on their journey to the god-protecting pagoda. I knew Nyo would be soft-hearted. Suddenly, Tsang said, "Thanks, I can't say that I'm soft-hearted. If the three beast tribes are still alive after we've destroyed Fog Ice, I'll naturally release them. Therefore, the White Tiger First Elder's worries were completely unnecessary. Moreover, I only let him feel at ease because that old man rarely goes against us." Lung Ruoxue said honestly, "Azure, head to the god-protecting pagoda. Why don't you teleport?" Lung Ruoxue then changed the topic. "Why did you teleport? Wasn't it good to look at the scenery? It wasn't that far to begin with." Azure said as a matter of course. Alright, then can I move Uncle Long and the others out?" At first, Song said that it was tiring to be alone. At that time, she thought that Song could teleport, so she sent Uncle Long and the others into the bracelet to save some divine power for Song. Who knew that Song had planned to walk? As such, Uncle Long and the others naturally didn't need to stay in the bracelet. It was more lively when there were more people. However, Song rejected Lung Ruoxue's suggestion and said righteously, "Let them save their strength. Otherwise, they will have a hard time in the land of chaos." Since Tsang-du had said so, Lung Ruoxue, who had never been to the land of chaos and had no idea what the situation was like there, could only agree. 2 days later, Lung Ruoxue and Tsang arrived at the God Pagoda. According to Tsang, the land of chaos was closer from the God Protecting Tower because there was a spatial tunnel that connected to the land of chaos. Of course, only Tsang Kai knew the coordinates of the other end of the spatial tunnel. Moreover, Lung Ruoxue would need to be escorted by him for her to pass through. Lung Ruoxue believed Tsang's words 100%, and Tsang was naturally very proud of himself. When they reached their base camp, Tsang brought Lung Ruoxue to the top of the God-protecting pagoda. It was also Lung Ruoxue's first time at the God-protecting pagoda at the top. Initially, she thought that this place was no different from where Tsang usually stayed. However, when she actually arrived, she realized that this place was completely different from what she had imagined. The spiritual energy at the top level of the God-protecting pagoda was very dense. However, it was a pitch-black fog, and she couldn't even see her fingers in front of her. However, Lung Ruoxue could feel that the spiritual energy here was a little brutal. Girl, the spiritual energy in the land of chaos is even more violent than here. Tsang, who knew Lung Ruoxue's thoughts, laughed evilly. Will Uncle Long and the others be able to come out from there? Lung Ruoxue asked speechlessly. She was starting to regret bringing Uncle Long and the others along. If they were unable to withstand the violent spiritual energy in the land of chaos and got injured, she would feel guilty. There shouldn't be a problem with the Divine Lord, but he can't stay for long. He could only look through the light screen. Actually, there's nothing much to see in the land of chaos. It's not even as good as my God-protecting pagoda. Cold Truth said. Oh, Tsang, when are we leaving? Lung Ruoxue nodded and asked. Now, girl, close your eyes. Azure ordered. Lung Ruoxue nodded. The moment she closed her eyes, she could clearly feel a flash of light before her eyes. She started to feel dizzy. After an unknown period of time, Tsang said to Lung Ruoxue, Girl, open your eyes. When Lung Ruoxue heard this, she immediately opened her eyes. What came into view was a beautiful blue sky. Lung Ruoxue was completely stunned by the beautiful scenery in front of her. What do you think? When Azure saw this, he couldn't help but be proud. The space tunnel I took you through is much stronger than that demonic maness, right? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Was there a need to compete in this? However, not long after Tsang finished speaking, the scene in front of Lung Ruoxue changed again. This time, Tsang was so depressed that he couldn't say anything. This was because it didn't have to be smug for long before the spatial passageway became exactly the same as when the demon had broken through the void. Extreme Azure Chi. Damn it. He really didn't give it any face. Lung Ruoxue couldn't help but laugh in her heart as she stroked the fur on Tsang's body to comfort him. Tsang, how much longer will it take to reach the land of chaos? Sensing that Tsang was still angry, Lung Ruoxue could only change the topic. Within 5 minutes. Azure replied in a depressed manner. 5 minutes later, Lung Ruoxue's vision turned even darker. Girl, we've arrived, Azure said. Lung Ruoxue stepped out of the space tunnel with Tsang in her arms. She looked at the gray and blurry scene in front of her and felt conflicted. There was no path in front of him, so where should he go? In addition, the ground under her feet was soft, as if she was stepping on cotton. Lung Ruoxue lowered her head to look at Tsang in her arms, her eyes pleading for help. Hee girl, just walk around. This is how it is. You'll get used to it. Cold laughed evilly. All right then. Lung Ruoxue nodded. Since Tsang-du had said so, she could only get used to it as soon as possible. However, the feeling of his feet not being able to touch the ground was really a little strange. Chapter 2873, Guilty Conscience of the Rules of Heaven and Earth, 1. After walking for a while, Lung Ruoxue finally got used to this head-heavy feeling. Then, with a thought, she moved Uncle Long and the others out. When Uncle Long and the others came out, the first thing they felt was dizziness, and then they swayed violently. After they managed to keep their balance with great difficulty, they finally had time to look at everything in front of them. Was this the land of chaos? It gave off a desolate feeling. Looking at the square inch of land in front of them, they were quite curious about how the materials here grew. Where did it grow? After a round of searching, Uncle Long and the others couldn't find a place suitable for plants to grow. They couldn't find any stones that could be used to refine weapons either. Schwer, can you really find the materials you need here? Uncle Long asked with uncertainty. I should be able to. I just don't know where it is. Lung Ruoxue was also a little confused. She absolutely believed Qingju's words. However, she had no idea where the materials were. Girl, don't worry. The things you want are definitely here. However, this is the outer area of the land of chaos. You understand? Hearing Lung Ruoxue's words, Song smiled. All right, I understand. Lung Ruoxue nodded and led Uncle Long and the others in a random direction. Io! As they were walking, they suddenly heard a scream. Lung Ruoxue quickly turned around and saw Lu Feng falling to the ground, half of his body covered by the thick fog. Are you all right? Lung Ruoxue hurriedly walked over and pulled Lu Feng up. I'm fine. I just tripped. Lu Feng stood up in a sorry state, still holding a big gray stone in his hand. What is this? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. I don't know. It's probably some kind of forging material that I don't recognize. Lu Feng hugged the heavy boulder like it was a treasure, unwilling to let go. Let me see. First Elder walked over and said, If you won't let me see, go find it yourself. Lu Feng dodged, but still held the big stone he didn't recognize tightly. Seeing this, Song couldn't help but laugh and said, All right, stop fighting. It's just an ordinary stone. Pucci. Hearing this, everyone couldn't help but laugh wildly. Only Lu Feng's face was red. He angrily threw the stone on the ground and mumbled in a low voice, Why are there ordinary stones here? It's unbelievable. Why not? Do you think there are treasures everywhere? Let me tell you, stop dreaming. Other than the year-end fog and the brutal spiritual energy, the living environment here can't be compared to the divine realm at all. Azure smiled as he explained. No wonder there's no one here. Lu Feng said as he suddenly realized. Hearing this, Azure was somewhat speechless. He continued, Those who can live here are not human. Everyone was silent. Was this considered an insult? However, they also understood Song's meaning. This was a place where special life forms were born, so it was naturally not a place where ordinary life forms could live. They had only stayed here for a short while, but they were already finding it difficult to breathe. Thanks then, everyone continued walking. This time, even if Lu Feng encountered a rock, he wouldn't be so surprised. However, he didn't plan on letting go of any stones he encountered, but he would first ask Song, and after getting a positive answer, he would decide whether to keep or leave those stones. Just like that, the group continued on their way, searching for treasures along the way, and they really did find many materials that could be used for forging artifacts. When they first saw the materials, the blacksmiths were extremely excited, but Song doused them with cold water. This was because Song had told them that they could not use the materials at all unless they had the Chaos Divine Flame. Instantly, the weapon craftsmen wilted. Their initial excitement from coming to the land of chaos was doused by Tsang, this bucket of cold water. Anything related to chaos was too high-end and not something they could possess or bear. Seeing that the weapon craftsmen had suffered such a huge blow, Shen Nuo and the other alchemists were no longer confident. However, before they could ask the question in their hearts, Tsang very calmly told them that they could not use the medicinal ingredients here either. In an instant, the excited alchemist and blacksmith teams suffered a huge blow. The two groups of fellow brothers huddled together and cried bitterly. So, how could they be so cruel? Have you cried enough? Really, so what if he couldn't use it? I think it's worth it to come here. Uncle Long couldn't take it anymore when he saw them crying. Yes, it's already a great opportunity to be able to come, so you guys don't have to be so greedy. Ice Spirit said helplessly. You guys don't understand the pain of alchemists and artifact masters. Seeing the ingredients in front of you but not being able to use them is the most unbearable thing for pill masters and artifact masters. First Elder raised his head and sobbed when he heard this. Then what do you guys think we should do? You don't have the Chaos Divine Flame. Ice Spirit couldn't help asking. Shwe, can you help us melt it? No matter what, you have to let us experience the materials of the Land of Chaos. After hearing Ice Spirit's words, First Elder turned to look at Lung Ruoxue with anticipation. All right, he said. Lung Ruoxue nodded. She could tell that if she didn't agree, these few people would be in so much pain that they would wish they were dead. Alchemists and blacksmiths. All of them were materials fanatics. Seeing that Lung Ruoxue had agreed, the few alchemists and weapon refiners immediately came to life as if they had been injected with chicken blood. Then, they began to search for the ingredients that could be used in detail like hardworking bees. Seeing them like this, the people present could only feel helpless. As they had searched too carefully along the way, they had yet to reach the center of the Land of Chaos even after walking for a long time. In the end, Song couldn't bear it anymore and shouted, "Don't search here anymore, this is only the outer area, there are more good things inside." With this, the Armament Guild headquarters, Great Elder and the others gave up on the carpet search and reluctantly quickened their pace. After walking for an unknown number of days, when Lung Ruoxue and the rest felt that the spiritual energy had become more violent, Song finally told them with certainty that they had arrived at the center of the Land of Chaos. The spiritual energy in the center was 10 times more brutal than that in the outer regions. According to Song's thinking, anyone below Reverend God level could do whatever they wanted. After the Great Elder and the others understood Song's meaning, they immediately cried, the depression in their hearts unable to be described. So, they had been tricked. He was even despised. They had clearly agreed that there would be more materials in the center, but now that they were here, they didn't want them to stay outside. Wasn't this bullying? However, it was undeniable that the spiritual chi here made the Grand Elder and the others feel a little uncomfortable. Lung Ruoxue did not know how to comfort First Elder and the rest when she saw their regretful and worried faces. She could only follow Azure's instructions and send them back to the bracelet. When they entered the bracelet, the First Elder and the others could not help but cry out loud. Seeing this, Qin Ju could only comfort them, "AI. You guys are too weak." Chapter 2874. A Guilty Conscience About the Rules of Heaven and Earth. 2. Too weak? They were divine emperors. In the divine realm, a divine emperor was an existence that was only second to Reverend God level. Why did Green Vessel say that his strength was too low? So, is this how you comfort others? This was like pouring salt on other people's wounds. With this thought in mind, the First Elder and the others from the Craftsmen's Guild headquarters looked at Qin Ju resentfully and said, "Qin Ju, do you have a way to get us out? We just want to personally collect the materials." They could accept that they couldn't use the materials here, but they couldn't accept it if they couldn't do it in person. They had to go out and witness the birth of those materials with their own eyes. This, Qin Ju was in a difficult position. His sister had sent them in for their own good. He couldn't go against his sister's wishes, right? Qin Ju, you must have a way, right? Seeing that Qin Ju seemed to have something to hide, the chief elder of the Craftsmen's Guild headquarters quickly asked. "If I was at my peak, it wouldn't be a problem to protect you outside. But now, I can only let you stay outside for an hour a day. After an hour, you still have to come in." Facing the Great Elder's expectant gaze, Qin Ju could not bear to lie to him, so he could only tell him the truth. When First Elder and the others heard this, they thought that an hour would do too. It's better than being locked up in the bracelet. With Qin Ju's guarantee, the First Elder and the others strongly requested Qin Ju to send them out. Qin Ju was helpless. He could only bid Lung Ruoxue farewell before sending them out. Faced with the First Elder and the others who were so insistent on coming out to personally gather the materials, Lung Ruoxue could only helplessly accept it. Fortunately, the Great Elder and the others were more punctual and did not cry or make a fuss because of the short time. Just like that, time passed day by day. Lung Ruoxue and the rest slowly moved towards the central region. However, Lung Ruoxue still did not discover any traces of the demon. Initially, she had asked Qing Ju about it. However, Qing Ju's strength had not fully recovered yet, and this was the land of chaos, so he could not probe too far away. When she asked Song, Song only told her that they would meet if fate brought them together. Instantly, Lung Ruoxue's temper was extinguished by Song's words. Alright, they would meet again if fate brought them together. It seemed like she could only wait patiently. As they were approaching the center of the area, they discovered more and more materials. They had no choice but to slow down. Lung Ruoxue was also hoping that the demon would find her first. However, after an unknown period of time, the demon did not come. Instead, another uninvited guest came. Looking at the dark purple ball of lightning that was throbbing violently, Lung Ruoxue really wanted to know what it was. However, Song only cared about looking at the other party and did not even bother to introduce it to her. Detestable! Who gave you the permission to break open the void? After a long time, the crazily beating dark purple ball of lightning roared. Facing the other party's anger, Azure only laughed. Who said I broke through the void? What a joke, I'm just going home. Do I need to break the void? Thanks, how could you come here if you didn't break the void? Azure, don't forget your identity. You can't leave the divine realm as you wish. The thunderbolt ball could not help but remind him. I didn't leave. It didn't even break the void. Don't tell me you've forgotten that my God-protecting tower is connected to this place? Are you trying to stop me from going home? Azure said calmly. The thunderbolt ball was stunned. It had really forgotten. However, after seeing Lung Ruoxue, the lightning ball couldn't help but shiver. It then roared, I can't stop you from going home, but why did you bring so many people to the chaotic world? This isn't a place where they can survive. You are harming them. Don't talk to me about all this nonsense. If that evil man can bring people here, why can't I? Are you looking down on me? Why don't we have a fight? Song Qing raised her eyebrows and asked with a smile. Who wants to fight you? This isn't a place where you can fight as you please. The thunderbolt ball said angrily. Tisk, if you can't beat me, just say it. I won't laugh at you. After hearing this, Azure said disapprovingly. Who can't beat you? I said you can't fight here. The thunderbolt ball said stubbornly. Alright, if you say we can't fight, then we can't fight. However, don't even think about stopping me from taking Nyo and the others here. Azure smiled evilly. This is not a tourist spot. Song's words made the lightning ball angry again. However, it still asked, when do you guys plan to leave? I don't know. I'm here with Nyo to collect materials. If there aren't enough materials, I definitely won't leave. Azure replied with a smile. Then what materials are you lacking? I'll give them to you. After thinking for a moment, the ball of lightning formed. It seems like they like to collect it by themselves. Azure said as he played with his furry little paws. These words made the thunderbolt ball burn with anger. Your sister. If he liked to collect them by himself, did that mean he wouldn't leave for a while? This can't do. It already had quite a few uninvited guests, so it definitely could not allow Lung Ruoxue and the rest to stay here. It could not let that demon know that Lung Ruoxue was here, or it would be the one in trouble. To be honest, it was not too afraid of the demon if it was on its own. However, if Lung Ruoxue was added to the mix, it had to consider the serious consequences that the other party might bring. Because when it was facing Lung Ruoxue, it would always feel a little guilty. And it was this trace of guilt that made it unable to act as self-righteously in front of Lung Ruoxue as it did in front of the demonic man and Song. It was extremely anxious about the laws of heaven and earth that had transformed into a thunderbolt ball in its heart. It couldn't understand why it was feeling guilty. It didn't do anything to let Lung Ruoxue down. Everything was according to the rules. However, even if it thought so in its heart, when it saw Lung Ruoxue, it couldn't help but feel its heart tremble. It was a feeling similar to meeting a natural enemy. The laws of heaven and earth knew that they had no confidence in front of Lung Ruoxue. Even though it did not know what was going on, it wanted to hide the moment it saw Lung Ruoxue. It did not want her to meet the demon. This was also the main reason why that demon had not noticed Lung Ruoxue's arrival. It had blocked off the area within 100 miles of Lung Ruoxue, and the laws of heaven and earth were simply unimaginable. If that demonic man found out what it had done, he would probably use the destruction of this place to threaten it. Hence, it really hoped that Lung Ruoxue and the rest could leave as soon as possible. They must not let that demon find any clues. However, as they got closer and closer to the demon, the laws of heaven and earth became more and more uneasy. Otherwise, it would not have appeared at this time. However, after it appeared, that detestable Tsang refused to leave with the rest. Furthermore, Lung Ruoxue was eyeing it like a tiger watching its prey. All of this caused the laws of heaven and earth to feel increasingly uneasy. But could it force him out? If Tsang Jin were to cause a ruckus and alert that evil man, the consequences would be even more unimaginable. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.